What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto left for dead but he refuses to die and unlocks a power of dark side? If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments. The Jubi was known to be a beast of unstoppable power, but what people don't know is that the Jubi was once a human. That person that became the Jubi was given a power from an unknown origin, and with that destructive power, he lost control of himself, causing him to become the Jubi. The name of this power was called the Devil Gene. The Jubi wandered the earth until he suddenly disappeared from history and the earth. Some say that he killed himself in madness. Others say that he became a Roroni and met someone to settle down, but today the Devil Gene will awaken in the most unlikely person, that happens to be 6-year-old Naruto Uzumaki. Get back here, you damn demon. Someone in the mob shouted at the small blonde boy running away. Why do they already chase me on my birthday? Why do they call me demon? Naruto thought. Suddenly a kunai whipped and embedded itself into Naruto's leg. The boy fell to the ground, desperately trying to crawl, but then he was caught and kunai was embedded in his hands and feet to the wall. Naruto wailed, Why do you hate me so much? I have never done anything to you people, and yet for some reason, you scorn me. Why? A masked Chunin with bits of silver hair sticking out, said, Because you are the Kyuubi no Kitsune. The demon is sealed within you. You were the one who killed countless people. Our brothers, sisters, fathers, mothers, lovers, all dead because of your destruction. $50 to the person who guessed this guy right. Naruto shouted, I am not the demon. The Chunin said, Bullshit. There is no reason for you to back out of this now. I am going to kill you here and now. The Chunin took some gasoline and poured it over Naruto, then he took a lighter, thought I might try fire for a change. Give my regards to the devil. He tossed on Naruto, who screamed in pain as the flames licked on his body. Is this how I die? Am I really going to die without accomplishing anything? No, I refuse to accept this fate. I refuse to die this way, I refuse. Naruto thought in agony. Mindscape Kyuubi sat waiting in his cage, then it saw the cage began to glow eerie purple. What the fuck? The demon said. The eerie purple aura traveled toward the Kyuubi and began to absorb its strength. The boy has that accursed gene. No, I can't go like this. Ah! It shouted, struggling. Suddenly the fox burst into red-orange chakra, but the purple aura consumed it. Naruto, hanging on the wall, had a strange seal that appeared on his chest. His body lifts out of his holds and black wings came out of his back with a loud snap, and his hands turned into claws of a devil. The villagers and ninjas looked in horror as Naruto changed, but the silver-haired Chunin left quickly, sensing that something bad was going to happen. Devil Naruto laughed ominously. Ha 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 ha. So I'm the Kyuubi no Kitsune, eh? Tell me, does the fox have wings? The villagers were shocked and one of them asked, What are you? Naruto said, Me? I'm Naruto Uzumaki, now you will feel the wrath of God. The jewel located on his forehead begins to glow yellow coupled with red lightning. Take this. Thunder Crimson Beam. The laser beam shot at the villagers and ninjas, killing them with excruciating pain. Suddenly Sarutobi and a group of Anbu came onto the scene of a devilish Naruto and piles of dead bodies, each with a single burning hole. Sarutobi said, En Naruto. Naruto looked at Sarutobi. Hello, Sarutobi Hiruzen. The Hokage flinched at the way Naruto said his name. Then Naruto clutched his head. What is happening? Then he saw a tall person with black wavy hair and brown eyes. So you are the wielder of the devil gene? Huh? Naruto Uzumaki? He said. Naruto said, Who are you and where are we? The man replied, I am Sato Kazuya, the previous holder of the devil gene and the Jubi no Ryu. Naruto said, There is a Jubi? Sato said, Yes, there is. Now listen carefully, you need to leave Konoha now. The devil gene will destroy your body if you don't come here to this place and train to control it. Naruto said, Where? Sato said, To the Mishima Zaibatsu located near the border of Kumo and Konoha. My memories will guide you here. Naruto said, I feel empty for some reason. Sato said, That is because when you forcibly awakened the devil gene within you, it absorbed the Kyuubi along with its memories and chakra. You can control it now. You must hurry, time is of the essence. Naruto nodded and suddenly he woke up in the hospital. He got out of the bed and awakened the devil gene again, spreading his black wings. Sarutobi along with Neko and Inu came into the room. Naruto, what are you doing? Naruto said, I need to go somewhere. I am sick and tired of the villagers trying to kill me every day. I need some space now. Inu said, but Naruto, the villagers are just mad. I am sure that they will change. Naruto trained his glowing purple eyes on Inu, which unnerved him. All I am hearing is a whole bunch of bullshit coming out of your mouth. If they wanted to change, they would have done that in 3 years. Now I am leaving this accursed place for now. There are some people here that are worth saving, such as the Ichiraku family. Naruto flew upwards into the sky and darted through the sky toward the moon. Inu tried to follow him, but Sarutobi held out a hand. No, Inu, he needs some space now. I know that he will keep his promise, though he is darkened by his hatred of the villagers. He is still the same. We will let him go now. Neko said, then how are we going to explain this to the council? Sarutobi said, we tell them the truth because those assholes that we are protecting don't know what is between the sealed kunai and the scroll. They need a wake-up call. Outskirts of Kumo, Naruto landed in front of the rundown house and walked inside of it. He looked around. Okay, this looks like the place. Now what is the training? Naruto closed his eyes to search through the Jubi's memories, then he found it. Naruto said softly, so I must train in the styles of capoeira, Mishima-style karate, Kazama-style self-defense and Jeet Kune Do. Then I must fight my inner self for control of my body. Interesting, I will not lose here. I need to protect them. They are the only family that ever saw past the demon that used to be sealed inside of me to find the real Naruto Uzumaki. Council, what do you mean we can't go get him? Danzo shouted, I knew we should have made him a weapon. Sarutobi glared at the old bandaged fool. Oh, so you can make him devoid of all emotion like your root division that is still up when I specifically told you to disband it. Danzo thought, how the hell he knew that root was still operational. Sarutobi said, now Naruto will not be labeled as an A-rank missing nin. I have his consent that he will return, but he never gave us a time to when he will return. The Haruno bitch shouted, he has that accursed demon inside of him. He might defect to Kumo or worse, Iwa. Sarutobi said, I would not be surprised since the civilian council disobeyed my direct orders to not harm him in any way, yet every time on this day I am alerted to find that he is beaten and bruised each time. Hell, I wouldn't stop him from killing you idiots. The civilian council paled in fear at Sarutobi's killing intent. This night was the day he finally snapped and retaliated, all because of him being the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. I lost my older son, Kujaku, to the demon, and have I tried to kill him once? No, but you couldn't let it go. The shinobi council listened on with smiles on their faces while Sarutobi said, so when he comes back, I will give him his inheritance, his name, everything that his parents left for him. He will be told everything and explained why this secret was kept from him, and no, I am not going to tell you about it. That is the surprise for you. Now am I clear? The civilian council gulped in fear as they nodded at the angered old monkey. Good, this meeting is adjourned now, get the hell out of my tower. Sarutobi said. Mishima Zaibatsu 5 years later, hanging from the tree, Naruto was finishing a set of crutches. During the 5 years, he practiced capoeira for the first year, then Kazama-style self-defense for the second, then Jeet Kune Do for the third year, then he did Mishima-style karate, and finally he started on working on mastering the advanced Mishima-style karate. Naruto's body was very muscular due to the training, and since he hunted and ate meat, he grew to a height of 5 feet and 6 inches. He often meditates and practiced his moves on Kumo shinobi that occasionally came onto the property. The hunting helped him brush up on his stealth and tracking skills. Finally, I believe that I am ready to face myself. Naruto was dressed in black pants with red flames running up his right leg along with a red and black shoe. He also wore red gloves, similar to a man in a picture he saw in the Mishima Zaibatsu. His name was Jin Kazama. Naruto sat down Indian style in the dojo and drifted inside his mind to face his fate, either to conquer the devil gene completely or to be consumed by it. Mindscape Naruto opened his eyes to find Devil Naruto sitting on a throne with his fist on his cheek. Ah, so you finally come to face yourself? The devil said to him. Naruto said, yes, I have come to reclaim myself. Devil Naruto got up from his throne and said, really? You are so sure of yourself to winning against me. Devil Naruto slipped into the Mishima-style karate stance while Naruto moved into the Kazama-style self-defense stance. That accursed style, I will make sure to kick your ass for that. The two charged at each other. Naruto aimed a kick at his opponent, but dodged and swept Naruto's legs from under him. Naruto fell on his back to see jump in the air to try and end it. Naruto rolled backwards and switched capoeira, doing a handstand and kicking at Devil Naruto's face. Devil Naruto's head went back like a bobblehead, and then Naruto did a windmill kick to his opponent, making him crash into the wall. Devil Naruto gritted his teeth and ran at him with a flying tackle. He slammed his fist into Naruto's face, then grabbed his face to launch him into the same wall he crashed into and dragged it across it before launching him to the floor. Naruto wiped the dirt and gravel from his face to move into the Jeet Kune Do. Devil Naruto said, "Oh, now you want to dance like a monkey?" Naruto retorted calmly, "Shut the fuck up and fight." Devil Naruto said, "As you wish." Devil Naruto aimed a kick at Naruto's head, but Naruto ducked under it and swept Devil Naruto's legs from under him. Then Naruto got on top and proceeded to punch the hell out of him. Each punch, he drew blood from Devil Naruto's face. Then Naruto took his arm and broke it. Naruto shouted, "Come on, bitch. Get up, get up. I know you are not dead." Devil Naruto got up. "I can't lose, not to the likes of you, you are just a mortal." Naruto said, "That is just it. You are a devil, incapable of knowing emotions such as compassion, remorse, love. All you know is rage, hatred, anger, suffering, pain. That is why I will win, because I have people to protect from people like you that reside in the hearts of humans. Now let's end this shit." Devil Naruto and Naruto stood in a standoff and then they ran at each other. Devil Naruto tried to do a Thunder Crimson Blast, but Naruto dove under it and spun in a circle to do a dragon uppercut to Naruto's chin. The devil's hand snapped back and then he fell to the ground hard. Naruto slowly walked to Naruto's body and said as he grabbed his head, "Goodbye, my other self." Naruto twisted his head to the side with a sickening crack. The purple aura came to surround Naruto and the tattoo appeared for a brief moment before receding back into his chest. "Now to train myself with this power," Naruto said to himself. Konoha 1 year later. Sarutobi sat in his office, doing paperwork as he had been doing for the last 12 years since his reign station as Hokage. "It has been 6 years, Naruto. I blame these villagers for doing those horrible things to you and myself for letting them happen to you. I promise whenever you return, I will make things right again as atonement for my sins against you." Naruto's voice rang out. "Good, because originally I was going to shout at you for not telling me the Yondaime Hokage was indeed my father, but then again, I was too stupid not to realize it either." Sarutobi spun to the window to see a blonde with black highlights in his hair with several bangs covering his eyes, wearing black pants with red and gold flames running up his right leg. He also wore a hooded leather jacket but no shirt, revealing his muscular chest due to intense training. Naruto. Sarutobi stuttered. Naruto said, "Hey, old man, how is it going?" Sarutobi hugged him tightly and Naruto said, "Come on, Sarutobi Gigi-san, you are the Hokage, not a tear machine." The old Hokage moved away from Naruto and wiped his tears. "You're right, I assumed that you want to know everything, right?" Naruto nodded and Sarutobi began. "Your father was indeed Minato Namikaze, the Yondaime Hokage. He was the one who developed the Hiraishin and ended the Third Shinobi War. He was always cheerful, but in battle, he would be cold toward you if you were his enemy. Your mother was Kushina Uzumaki, she was a lot like you. She would always fight for those in need regardless of her safety, and she has an infectious personality that always made you an ally of hers. Your mother died due to complications in childbirth and in your father's will. You were not supposed to learn anything by the time you reached Chunin. But I understand you don't agree with me because having the villagers hunt you would be no different than having Iwa send assassins to you. But Minato and I couldn't take that risk and foolishly anticipated that the villagers would forget their anguish." Naruto said, "Ji-san, I don't blame you at all, it is the villagers and civilian council I blame for not being able to do better." Sarutobi said, "But I could have done better, I could have made laws to protect you better, gave you a guardian, something." Naruto roared, "Hiruzen Sarutobi." Sarutobi looked up at Naruto's haggard face. "Stop wallowing in self-pity. I see that you are sorry, but you can't change the past unless you have a time-space jutsu of some sort. My father gave me that burden because I was the only one he could trust, If there was another, I am sure that the person would have gone mad or abused the fox's power. Oh, by the way, the Kyuubi no Kitsune is dead. Sarutobi shouted, "What? How?" Naruto said, "When I awakened the devil gene forcibly through my will, it absorbed his power, but left the chakra making me stable to survive. I gained its memories along with the Jubis." The Hokage said, "There is a Jubi?" Naruto nodded, "Yes, his name was Sato Kazuya. He was once human until he unlocked the devil gene. In doing so, he lost control of himself in failing to defeat his inner self and became the Jubi. He wandered the earth and disappeared until he was found by the Rikudo Sennin, the sage of the six paths, and the Rikudo Sennin sealed him inside. The Jubi, while being sealed, inputted some of his power into the devil gene and became dormant in the Sennin." Quote, Sarutobi said, "So you are a direct descendant of the Rikudo Sennin?" Naruto said, "No, I am an indirect descendant. According to history, the Senju and the Uchiha are the descendant of the Rikudo Sennin. The Senju and the Uchiha both have the devil gene, but the Mokuton ability suppresses it, giving the males the ability to do wood jutsu and subdue demons, while the Sharingan draws its power from the devil gene. But there is another stage in the Sharingan, one that the first known Uchiha in Konoha unlocked. Madara Uchiha and Itachi Uchiha had unlocked the Mangekyo Sharingan. In order to attain this stage, you must kill your closest friend. The devil gene is awakened at a certain extent and slowly drives the user to madness due to prolonged use." Sarutobi said, "So how come you can use it?" Naruto replied, "Everyone had the devil gene inside of them, but it is dormant and can't be unlocked, though I can't explain it why I am the only one able to unlock it." Sarutobi said, "Well, all that matters is that you are back. Also, you will be giving the Namikaze estate near the Hyuga estate and your account will be transferred under your name." Naruto said, "Oji-san, I would appreciate it if I could go by my mother's maiden name still. I still haven't forgiven my father just yet." Sarutobi said, "Of course, Naruto, take your time. So what type of training did you do?" Naruto said, "I mastered the styles of Jeet Kune Do, Kazama-style self-defense, Mishima-style karate and capoeira, the styles that the Jubi once practiced. I have no ninjutsu except the E-rank jutsus Henge and Kawarimi or any genjutsu, so I would like to enroll myself at the academy again." Sarutobi said, "I figured you might say that, so I have already done all of that." Naruto said, "Thanks, Sarutobi Oji-san, it is good to see you again. Now for you being honest with me, I will ease your suffering a bit more. Try using clones to help with your work, maybe Tsuchi Bunshins may help you." Sarutobi slapped his forehead. "I am nicknamed the Professor and yet I could never figure out how to defeat paperwork at all." "Thank you, Naruto. Now I will help you out. Here is a scroll contained the Jutsu Kage Bunshin. Since you have a large chakra capacity, you should be able to pull it off without the effects of fatigue." Naruto caught the scroll and slipped it into his pocket. "Thanks, Oji-san, now I am off." Naruto jumped out the window and Sarutobi got to work with his Tsuchi Bunshin and thought, "I sense that Naruto has gotten stronger. Now I hope that nobody angers him or they will suffer his wrath along with my own." Courtyard. Naruto walked down the village courtyard, ignoring the whispers and glares of the villagers until one of the idiots became bold enough to throw a rock at his back. It hit Naruto dead center and the former Jinchuriki turned slowly around to face the perpetrator. The idiot grinned, "Get the hell out of here, demon." Naruto said, "I will not go back to enduring countless abuse from you idiots, no more." He suddenly moved and did a tsunami kick to the bold idiot, launching him into the trash can. Then he turned to the rest of the villagers, who were shocked that he actually fought back against them. "Anybody else want some?" The villagers backed up and Naruto said, "Good, because I am not taking any of this shit anymore. You hit me, I hit you back, but if you ever try to hurt anybody I care about, I swear to fucking Kami, I will kill your loved ones before your very eyes before I kill you." Some of them were shaken or unconscious due to Naruto's killing intent to make sure he was very clear with them. Then the former Jinchuriki moved toward Ichiraku Ramen and said, "I would like 3 bowls of miso ramen please." Tucci said, with his back turned, "All right then." He turned around to see Naruto. "Naruto? Is that you?" Naruto said, "Hey Tucci Oji-san, how is Ayame-chan?" Tucci shouted, "Ayame, come here." Ayame said, "Unless it is the Hokage or the people who respect Naruto, I am not coming out." Tucci said, Trust me, you will like this one. Ayame came out, not noticing Naruto. Okay, what is the big idea, Tusan? Tucci inclined his head to Naruto and Ayame followed his gaze, and Naruto-kun? Naruto was suddenly glommed by Ayame. Nice to see you too, Ayame-chan. He said. Then she yelled at him. Why didn't you tell us that you were leaving the village? We were worried about you, that you were hurt or dead when you didn't show him for ramen the day after. Tucci said, Ayame, you can't blame the boy for that. He took so much abuse until he just couldn't take any more from those bastards. Naruto said, Oji-san, she is right. I should have said goodbye to you too before running off, but I was so angry that I only thought of myself. Ayame said, well, you're back, so how about that ramen? Naruto nodded and Ayame went in the back along with her father to make his order. A few minutes later, Naruto asked as he ate, so, I heard you say that you didn't sell to anybody except the Hokage and those who respected me? Who were they? Ayame answered, well, there was a Hyuga girl about your age, your teacher, the Hokage's son, a woman named Kurenai, a man named Kakashi, a weird green spandex-wearing man. Some of your old classmates except that girl who you had a crush on. Naruto's face was impassive. He grew out of his crush on Sakura since he realized that she was not the one for him. That and her mother was on the council. She was a complete bitch. We only sold to them, that's why our business is still here and we also have the protection of the Hokage, making sure that we were not attacked at all. Ayame concluded. Naruto silently thanked Sarutobi for his efforts. The former Jinchuriki said, it was nice to see you again, Tucci Oji-san, Ayame-chan. I better get to class so I can protect this restaurant. Tucci and Ayame smiled softly at the boy, who walked a few feet before turning his head, and Ayame-chan, you have grown quite beautiful too. Ayame blushed as Tucci laughed heartily at her flushed face. It dawned on her that Naruto was not wearing a shirt, only a jacket, and she caught a good glimpse of his chest, making her blush even more. Classroom. Naruto found the room and whispered, showtime. He kicked the door off its hinges, making it crash into the wall and past Iruka's face while he was lecturing. This woke the students, especially Shikamaru, up from their slumber. Iruka turned to the figure sharply and gasped, Naruto? The students started to murmur and whisper as Naruto walked into the room. Some of the girls, including a certain Hyuga, blushed at his exposed, partially covered chest. Naruto, out of the corner of his eye, looked at the students. The clan heirs were smiling at him. Some of the students' eyes widened at the new wardrobe and some that he knew were from the civilian council were glaring daggers at him. Sasuke was also glaring at him suspiciously, trying to measure his strength against his own and his former crush. Sakura was gaping at the new Naruto. I'm back, and better than ever. Naruto stated with a proud smirk. What? Kiba said, where did you go? Naruto said, that is none of your concern, Kiba-san. I prefer to keep that place at my discretion. Sasuke said, tell me where you went. You must have gotten stronger than last time 6 years ago. Naruto turned his cold eyes upon the Uchiha. You're right, Uchiha. I have gotten stronger, but like I said, I prefer to keep that place under discretion. He turned to Iruka, are you supposed to evaluate my skills or something? Iruka said, well, Hokage-sama did mention that you were exceptional in taijutsu. Naruto said, do you have an older genin or something? I think I might kill him or her during the fight if I do so. Sasuke said, you will fight me. Naruto thought, though I wouldn't bother with him, I do think his ass needs to get knocked down a few pegs. The former Jinchuriki said, fine, I will indulge you once, Uchiha. Sasuke said, once I defeat you, you will kneel before me. Naruto said, say that after you defeat me, Uchiha. Arena, okay, this is taijutsu only. No weapons, no jutsu, no nothing. If either of you start any hand signs, I will disqualify you and have the Hokage carry out your punishment, no exceptions. Iruka said, comprende? Naruto said, staring at Sasuke, I got it. Iruka turned to Sasuke, oh, this means you too, Uchiha-san. Sasuke said, yeah, whatever. Iruka said, the match between Naruto Uzumaki versus Sasuke Uchiha. Ready? Begin. Sasuke slipped into the Uchiha taijutsu style, which its true power can be unleashed when the Sharingan was awakened. Naruto thought, so many styles to kick his ass with, but which one? I guess I will settle with Mishima style. Naruto slipped into the Mishima-style stance and Sasuke thought, I don't recognize that stance. Naruto said, I will at least tell you its name. The style is called Mishima-style karate. Sasuke moved first by attacking his torso, but Naruto blocked it and kicked him in the torso. Then Naruto began to punch Sasuke, not giving him a chance to defend himself. Then the Devil Gene wielder knocked Sasuke down on his ass. Are you done yet? Sasuke looked at him and tried to sucker punch Naruto, but the young man skidded back. I guess not then. Sasuke ran at him, screaming a war cry, and Naruto caught his punch effortlessly to deliver a nice punch to his gut. Sasuke stepped back holding his stomach and Naruto kneed him with his right leg in the face before turning and kicking Sasuke with his left leg. TCH, come on, man, don't waste my time. I thought you were supposed to the best of the best. I guess all those compliments got to your head, eh? Naruto taunted. Sasuke ran and tried a series of dragon kicks, but Naruto blocked all of them with his forearms. Then Sasuke started to bounce on the balls of his feet in a boxing stance, which caused Naruto to quirk an eyebrow and said, interesting, this should be fun now. The Uchiha said, I was just testing you, but now I will get serious. Naruto made the first move by kicking his shin, but Sasuke moved out of the way and caught Naruto with a punch to the face. The former Jinchuriki smirked, niece, you actually got one hit on me. Let's see you tried that again. Sasuke bounced close to him and Naruto fainted, and then backed up when Sasuke caught out and swiped at him. Naruto ran at him and ducked under Sasuke's punch to grab his waist and spun around to make Sasuke lose his balance, then did a suplex. Luckily, if Naruto was not trying to kill him, his head would have been smashed by the force, but the concrete was well acquainted with Sasuke's back. Then Naruto grabbed his arm and wrapped his legs around it, pulled Sasuke's arm in an uncomfortable pain. The Uchiha gritted his teeth in pain as Naruto shouted, tap out. Tap out now. Sasuke, stubborn as an ass, tried to find a way to release himself from Naruto's grip, but he was in pain. After a few minutes, the Uchiha slapped his hand against the ground and Naruto released him from his bond. Shosha. Uzumaki Naruto. Iruka said. Sasuke thought, damn it, I lost. After class was dismissed and everyone was proceeding to go home, Naruto walked toward his old sensei and said, Iruka sensei, can I get a student tutor? I kinda need a crash course in this year. Iruka said, well, Sakura can. Naruto said, next. Iruka said, why not? The former Jinchuriki said, because Sakura is the type of person that is oblivious to everything in the world except her and Sasuke, like all these other bitches. Now can you give me a kunoichi that doesn't worship the feet of the Uchiha? Iruka said, well, there is Hinata Hyuga. Naruto thought, Hinata? Wait, Hyuga, that must be the girl that Ayame was talking about then. Naruto said, I will take her then. Iruka said, Hinata, can you come here for a moment? In a few moments, a timid indigo-haired girl with an oversized coat and Anbu-style pants came towards Naruto and Iruka. Why yes, Iruka-sensei. Iruka said, Naruto needs a tutor for this year, preferably a student tutor. I would like it if you could tutor him for the next 6 months. Hinata thought, tutoring and Naruto-kun? Alone? The girl began to blush furiously and pushed her pointer fingers together. Naruto thought, as I thought she has a crush on me, but she lacks confidence too. I have to fix that quickly or she will get herself killed. Naruto nodded his approval and said, so what time are you free, Hinata? Hinata said, I believe, around 5 or 6. Naruto said, I will meet you at Ichiraku Ramen by 5:30 then. Hinata nodded and Naruto thought, I believe that I can use this to my advantage. I do kinda like her and I also need an ear on the inside to deal with those Hyuga elders and some of the main family. Now I know that all of the clan heirs like me, which means that the clan heads are the ones that tried to defend me. Hiyashi is indifferent and often switch sides to his favor, which leaves the old bastards, the Cyclops and his army of rude bitches and those asses on the civilian council members. Now to visit the council since I believe that they will send an Anbu to fetch me in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sure enough, an Anbu came to fetch him, but he recognized the mask from 6 years ago in the hospital. Hello, Neko-chan, I assume that the council requests my presence, correct? Naruto said. Neko nodded, it's good to see you too, Naruto, and yes, the council wishes to see you. Naruto smiled darkly. Well, then time to give them hell, eh? Neiko almost smiled, indeed. She placed a hand on his shoulder and shunshined to the meeting room. The council was filled with mutterings and their own discussions when Naruto and Neiko came in the room with Sarutobi, the elders, Danzo, the clan heads and the civilian council. Naruto said, "You rang?" Homura said, "We have called you today about your disappearance and what kind of training you have undergone." Naruto said, "My disappearance? I just travel all over the world for 6 months, learning different trades, and my training is none of your concern after all. A ninja doesn't give out any secrets to anyone, even his comrades or enemies." Danzo asked, "What is this Mishima-style karate?" Naruto looked at him. "Ah, so you were the one who sent that person to observe me." Danzo didn't flinch, but was sweating inwardly as Naruto continued, "I didn't know that you didn't trust your own comrades at all, old man. You wouldn't have to get your own Anbu squads." Sarutobi said, "You still have root up, Danzo?" Danzo said, "Only to ensure the loyalty of those who are suspicious to becoming traitors to Konoha." Naruto said, "You're right to watch me, because the only reason why this place is still standing is the Sandaime Hokage. If something were to happen to him, I would know who it is or who had the motive, Danzo. Since you have the most motive being pushed out of the bid to becoming Hokage, I see you have the grudge against Sarutobi Jii-san." Danzo thought, he is on to me. Naruto said, "Now back to business. I learned different trades and no, I will definitely not teach the Uchiha anything." Quote, Homura said, "Why not?" Naruto said, "Because he is a selfish, arrogant brat who wants power to be given to him on a silver platter. His family was destroyed and the council is kissing his ass while I saved your ass from the Kyuubi. Yes. I know the secret. And yet no one except the old man, the Ichiraku family and several of the clan heads including some Anbu tried to help me. How ironic is that?" Koharu said, "That is because the Sharingan is the most powerful tool in Konoha." Naruto said, "Bitch please, even if he somehow activates it, I can still be able to kick his ass. The Sharingan has a flaw like any other dujutsu. It must pierce through the eyes of the opponent to exact its true potential. I learned to fight blindfolded and I am pretty sure that there are jutsu to help hinder the Sharingan. It is not all powerful. Now the Kyuubi, a beast with infinite power and chakra to use, able to destroy a mountain with one flick of its tail all sealed into me. I could kill everyone in this room without breaking a sweat." The civilian council, Danzo, Homura and Koharu sweated in realization that Naruto was right. With the power of the Kyuubi, he would be unstoppable and they just made him their enemy by abusing him for 6 years. Naruto said, "My loyalty is to the Hokage only. I will answer to only him or her depending on the next one. The council can't order me to do anything unless it considers me or my interest." Sarutobi said, "Well said, Naruto. Now you will have your possessions and inheritance from your father and mother." A fat civilian merchant stood up. "What? He has no family, he is just an orphan." Naruto said, "For being part of the strongest village, some of you are really stupid. Now the Yondaime had sealed the Kyuubi into me and there were other babies, but why did he choose me? Shikaku-san, can you answer this?" Shikaku said, "It is too troublesome to not notice the answer because the Yondaime trusts you more than anyone since some of the clan would try to exploit that baby for power. And who else to trust but your own son?" The civilian side gasped in shock as Naruto smiled. "Yep, that is correct. I am indeed the Yondaime's son. Just take off the whiskers and I am a mini clone of him." The Haruno council member stuttered, "But that's impossible. Minato-kun never marry anyone." Sarutobi said, "On the contrary, Yasha, Minato did marry. The surname should be obvious." Yasha hissed, "He marries that skank." Naruto flashed and held her up in the air by her neck. "Listen, bitch, and listen well. Just because you were some slut trying to get in my father's pants and failed to do so does not, I repeat, does not give the right to insult the one who gave me life. And don't even think about having your daughter tried to get in mine to try and spend my inheritance because I will not have it at all. You lost because you didn't catch my father's eye at all and I am glad that he didn't." Yasha clawed feebly at her throat, which was slowly getting crushed by Naruto's monstrous grip. Sarutobi said, "Naruto, enough." Naruto growled, "As you wish." He dropped her unceremoniously on the floor and Yasha lay on the floor, coughing a fit. Yasha massaged her throat as she hoarsed, "It does not matter. You can't claim the inheritance since the marriage was not recorded." Sarutobi said with a devious smirk, "That is where you are wrong. I married them in secret since Minato didn't want to be married to you, Yasha. His witnesses were Jiraiya and Tsunade, plus I have the documents here." He threw them on the table in front of the gaping Yasha. "You asshole, you knew this all along." Yasha screeched. Sarutobi said, "Yasha, you were away scheming to get Minato ever since Fugaku got married to Makoto. Minato used to like you until you destroyed that chance that night he found you sleeping with another man while you were dating. When he met Kushina and made a name for himself, you became sullen and would stop at nothing to try and break them up. Hell, you even tried killing her during the Jonin exams with a cheap shot and Minato kicked your ass for that." Naruto chuckled, "Seriously? Two-san kicked her ass?" Sarutobi said, "Yes, Ms. Yasha over there was 24 years old with a broken leg, bruised face, 5 ribs broken, a concussion, a black eye and dislocated shoulder. She was in the hospital for a month recovering after Minato was through with her." Naruto whistled, "Damn, and she still didn't get a hint. On another note, do you have pictures?" Sarutobi said, "Unfortunately, she thought it was a front to get into Kushina's panties, then hit her and quit her. She never knew what she had until it was gone and hell yay, I even got it on tape to laugh." Yasha bristled in anger at the laughing pair, the memory of Minato's kicking her ass all over the floor. Naruto said, "Okay, you are definitely not getting into my family no matter what." Sarutobi whispered, "Are you going to reveal your power or what? Because they may enforce the CRA on you." Naruto said, "So be it, they are bound to know anyway." Naruto closed his eyes and a seal appeared on his forehead and chest. Long black wings popped from his back and his hands turned into claws. Horns came from his temples as Naruto said, "This is my power, my bloodline. I might as well show you since someone was bound to see me like this." Homura said, "You will have the CRA applied to you." Yasha grinned and Naruto said, "On one condition, I get to choose the girls before I turn 16. Sume said, "That is agreeable. You must have at least 8 girls or we will choose the remaining ones for you." Naruto said, "I agree to the terms." Hiyashi thought, "This might get to my advantage, I can get rid of the council and let Hinata be with the one she loves." Inoichi thought, "I hope Ino gets over the Uchiha soon." Sume said, "He is a Y1. I would not mind. No, bad Sume, bad girl." Yasha thought, "If I can just seduce him or have my daughter to get with him, I can get his fortune." Danzo thought, "I got to get him on my side before it is too late." Sarutobi said, "Naruto Uzumaki will be known as Naruto Namikaze, if he can pass the evaluation test." Naruto said, "Who am I fighting?" Sarutobi said, "You will be fighting by the categories of taijutsu, ninjutsu and genjutsu. Maeda Gai for taijutsu, Kakashi Hitaki for ninjutsu and Kurenai Yuhi for genjutsu." Naruto said, "That is fine then, I will not use my bloodline against either of them." Sarutobi said, "I thought you said that you didn't know any ninjutsu." Naruto said, "I can't tell you everything that I am good at, Oji-san. How else I am going to kick your ass?" Sarutobi said, chuckling, "Everyone, this mission is adjourned and we will meet at Training Area 18. Also you can bring your clan heirs to witness the fight." Training Area 18 Naruto stood in the middle of the area which the civilian council, clan head and heirs including Sasuke and Sarutobi. The first match with taijutsu. Naruto Uzumaki vs Maeda Gai. Suddenly a man with a bowl cut, beady eyes, and green spandex with orange leg warmers came out. "Dude, I hope your fighting skills are not as bad as your dress code. What in the name of Kami possessed you to wear that crap?" Naruto commented. Guy laughed, "Ah, my youthful friend, my fighting skills are the best here. They are as hot as my flames of youth." Naruto thought while a sweat drop appeared behind his head. "Flames of youth?" Sarutobi said, "Contestants ready?" Naruto and Guy nodded, then the Hokage shouted, "You may begin." Naruto moved into the Kazama self-defense stance while Guy moved into the Goken stance. "What style is that?" Guy asked curiously. Naruto said, "I will tell you if you win." Guy moved at half speed, underestimating Naruto. Guy shouted, "Konoha Senpu." Naruto leaned back to avoid the high kick, and then put his hands on the ground, lifting his legs up to avoid the hidden low kick. Naruto back flipped and twisted to the side as Guy tried to get behind him. Naruto caught him with a kick to the face. Guy twisted to the side and Naruto applied a high kick to the chin before bringing his leg crashing down on his head. Guy's head burrowed deeper into the ground and Naruto stepped back. Guy-san, never underestimate your opponent no matter how he looks. Guy got up, blood trickling down his face. Good job, my youthful friend, I guess I need to get serious. Guy reached down to remove his weights from his orange leg warmers and tossed them away. Naruto raised an eyebrow when the weights made a big mushroom dust cloud. Weights, huh? Naruto unfastened his shin guards and arm guards off for a minute to reveal seals on his arms. There were 6 chain links on him and Naruto said, Gravity Chain Link Seal 4x Release. 4 chain links on his arms and legs disappeared from his body and Naruto began to bounce around, feeling a bit lighter than normal. Okay, now we can begin, Naruto said, moving into the Kazama self-defense stance once again. Guy nodded and sped forward as did Naruto. They were a blur to everyone except the Jonin and Hokage, who could follow some of their movements. Sasuke thought, how the hell he is moving so fast? What are those seals on his body? Anko said to her friend, Kurenai, holy shit, Nai-chan, that kid is fast. Kurenai said, no, he is faster than Guy. Anko said, how? Hana Inazaka, another friend of hers answered. Naruto released only 4 chain links on his body. There are still 2 left for him to unleash, but it seems that Naruto wanted to match Guy. If this was a strength test, I think Guy would have the upper hand in speed, Naruto would will hands down. It will be a match of endurance between the two. Anko said, then the kid will win this match. If he was able to endure the abuse for 6 years, then this should be a problem to him. Guy said, Konoha Daisenpu. Naruto shouted, White Heron. Guy's move was dodged and the Jonin met Naruto's move fully. Guy stepped back and Naruto grabbed his arm and spun him around, throwing him to the ground. Next, Naruto jumped on his chest and punched him with a 1-2 punch. When Guy tried to get up, Naruto quickly moved to grab his arms and dislocated them with a crack. Sarutobi said, enough, good, Naruto, I declare Naruto Uzumaki the winner. Next, Kakashi Hitaki for ninjutsu. A silver-haired Jonin with a Hite 8 slanted over his left eye came forward with an orange book in his hand. Naruto whispered, Gravity Chain Link 4x Seal. The chain links appeared back on his arms and legs once again. Then the young man turned his eyes on Kakashi and smirked, it's been a long time, Inu. Kakashi's eyes smiled, so, you remember me. Naruto said, you have not changed your hairstyle at all, and you may want to put that book away or you will get hurt. Kakashi said, that is true. He put away Icha Paradise away for later and spreaded his legs. Ninjutsu match. Kakashi Hitaki vs Naruto Uzumaki. Kakashi jumped back, flipping through hand signs and shouted, Kaden. Gukakyu no Jutsu. Naruto dodged and shouted, Futon. Rasenkatama. He breathed wind on the spiraling ball and launched it at Kakashi. The Jonin moved away from it and a giant blast erupted at the spot where the Cyclops was previously at. He knows how to do nature manipulation. Kakashi thought in shock. Naruto then flipped through hand signs and shouted, Raiden. Ikazuki Hakai. He slammed his palm into the earth and Kakashi was forced to retreat to avoid falling into the crater. I am impressive. You know nature manipulation well. Naruto said, I happened to come across a teacher who taught me nature manipulation before I came here. When technically it was true, Sato was considered a teacher since Naruto learned it from his memories. Kakashi said, I have a feeling that I have to get serious with you. He lifted his headband to reveal a Sharingan eye to Sasuke's surprise. How does he have the Sharingan? The Uchiha thought. Naruto said, let me guess, an Uchiha was a friend of yours and gave you his Sharingan, correct? Kakashi said, that is the gist of it, but yeah. Naruto said, oh, well, best get back to action. Kakashi nodded and flipped through hand signs, Sweden. Suiryuden no Jutsu. A water dragon roared as it sprung out of the lake and moved towards Naruto. HMPH, begone, dragon. Raiden. Jabashi. He sent a wave of blue-purple electricity from his arms and it collided with the dragon as due to the nature chart, lightning is strong against water. Kakashi said, son of a. The Sharingan wielder moved into the trees to avoid being shocked to death by the attack, but Naruto appeared behind him. Raiden, Hireishin. Kakashi's eyes widened. Hireishin? He thought. Naruto had lightning covering his hand and struck at Kakashi, but the Jonin moved away from the spot. Only Naruto smirked as he clenched his fist and wind encircled his arm. Take this. Futon. Senpuken. Naruto punched at Kakashi and the whirlwind struck Kakashi full power, not letting him dodge at all. Kakashi was sucked into the whirlwind and flung to the ground. The Jonin struggled to get up only to see Naruto with a Rasenkatama in his hand to use against him. I concede. You are pretty strong, Kakashi said, panting. Naruto deadpanned, or you just want to read your book. Kakashi said, that and you might kill me if we continue our match. The former Jinchuriki said, true. Sarutobi said, winner by forfeit, Naruto Uzumaki. Next, Genjutsu match with Kurenai Yuhi, but would you like a rest before you battle her, Naruto? Naruto nodded, I could use at least 15 minutes. Naruto the boy sat down on a tree trunk isolated from the rest of the spectators and drank his bottle of water in silence, enjoying the forest. I have no idea why, but being in the forest, just listening to everything is kinda soothing to me. Suddenly a branch snapped and Naruto looked to see Hinata coming behind him. Hinata, what are you doing here? Naruto asked. The timid girl answered, I wanted Titu. Naruto said, for Kami's sake, woman, spit it out. Hinata said, I wanted to see how you were doing. Naruto said, there, that is better. Remind me to work on your confidence, it seems that you tend to be a little bit too shy for my taste. I mean, yeah, you are not arrogant like the others, no offense, but really it is going to get you killed. Hinata said, I am sorry. Naruto sighed, Hinata, don't apologize. Instead I am going to help you since you are helping me with my schoolwork. She said, are really? Naruto said, yes, I will help you. He stood up and walked past her, but stopped and said, and Hinata? Hinata looked up and said, yes? Naruto said, if you want to win me over, you best get stronger. I do like you for your kind and caring nature. But you must realize that you must be vigilant to your enemies no matter how much you want to avoid hurting them. Hinata blushed, he knows. Wait a minute, he likes me too? She thought. The devil gene holder moved to the area where Sarutobi was waiting for him. Okay, the match between Kurenai Yuhi and Naruto Uzumaki will commence. Kurenai, please step forward. Kurenai came out and stepped forward to face her opponent. Naruto said, wow, beautiful and deadly. Combinations I like so much. Kurenai had a light blush came across her face and Sarutobi smirked. Why, Kurenai, is that a blush I see? Kurenai's blush changed from pink to a light red. Naruto teased, why, yes, Oji-san. In fact, I think it is, in fact you can see it more clearly now. Kurenai protested, can we start the match please? Sarutobi said, fine, you may begin now. Kurenai started off, Megan. Jubaku Setsu. A tree appeared behind Naruto and trapped him against it. Naruto said, nice genjutsu. He flared his chakra, dispelling it, and then Kurenai moved on to another one, Genjutsu Shibari. Naruto suddenly couldn't move and then the Genjutsu mistress said, Genjutsu, Hanachiri Nuko. She suddenly dispersed into sakura flower petals. Naruto struggled against the Genjutsu. Well, this one is a little difficult to break, but I won't lose. Naruto began to move with great difficulty and with a loud cry, he broke the binding Genjutsu. Then he thought, the scent is thick with sakura blossoms and the petals are obscuring my vision. He closed his eyes and breathed in slowly, listening for Kurenai's whereabouts. Then his eyes shot open and his hand reached out to grab Kurenai's shoulder and pumped chakra into her system quickly, disrupting her genjutsu. You seem to know the way to handle genjutsu well, Kurenai said. Naruto said with a smirk, I can't cast genjutsu very well, but I can at least dispel them. All depends on the will of the victim. Sarutobi said, Naruto Uzumaki wins, as promised, your inheritance and true name will be given to you. I present to you, Naruto Namikaze. Ino said, you are the Yondaime's son? Naruto raised an eyebrow, you never noticed that we had the same hair and eyes. The only thing different between us is that I inherited my mother's take no shit attitude and sense of justice. Ino said, that is true. Sasuke said, I want you to teach me those jutsu. Naruto said, sorry, I am not teaching at this time. Sasuke stepped closer. It was not a request. Naruto said, well, I failed to acquiesce to your request. So let's just leave it at that, Uchiha. Naruto walked away to get his inheritance and mansion, setting up his stuff near the Inazaka residence. Naruto moved into the Namikaze compound, directing the cage bunchins in moving the furniture and exploring the compound. When the cage bunchins that were exploring the new home dispelled themselves, Naruto smirked. According to the information collected, there were a lot of rooms. Apparently Minato and Kushina planned to have their family very big. There was also a dojo filled with weapons, a spa along with an indoor pool. The kitchen was stocked with food and of course, seals that preserve the food to its fresh state. On the outside in the back, there was a personal training ground with a seal that restores any damage to the ground. Also Naruto realized that his father was very fond of blood seals and found his workroom. The seals needed his blood and his fingerprint to get access. If someone that wanted power, Sasuke and Danzakou, they would be killed instantly. Even if you were to somehow cut off Naruto's hand and press his thumb, it would not work. Suddenly there was a knock on the door and Naruto went to it. The Devil Gene wielder opened it to see Sume Inazaka along with her children, Kiba and Hana. Naruto gave the matriarch of the Inazaka household a smile. Hello. Welcome to my home, neighbors. Kiba whistled. Nice digs, man. And the great thing about it is that you have the whole place to yourself too. The muscular boy said, yeah, but it gets kind of lonely here, but soon I will have some company. Kiba said intelligently, huh? Sume answered, Naruto here has to have a harem before he turns 16. Kiba said, what? You lucky bastard, just like the freaking Uchiha? Well, that is if he is not gay. Naruto replied, no, it is not going to be fun because Yasha Haruno along with her daughter Sakura are going to pull every single trick in the book to get to me and my inheritance since Yasha got kicked out of the bid when my mother replaced her. Anyway, enough of that. What can I do for you, Sume-chan? Sume had to fight the creeping blush on her face as she said, I came here to ask of a marriage contract between us. Naruto answered, sure, but me and you have to go on a date first to see my feelings for you. Kiba said, what? Ka-san, you can't be serious? Sume said, no, not with me, with my daughter Hana. Hana blushed, yeah? Sume said, you have never gone out with anybody since Toshiro cheated on you, plus you were looking at him very hard. Sume inwardly thought, not that I don't blame you, I wouldn't mind having some of that. Hana saw the blush creeping on her mother's face, you too, huh, Ka-san? Hana said, fine. Naruto said, oh, and Sume-chan, there was a marriage contract made earlier between your grandmother and my grandfather, Kosuke Namikaze. It states that if one of the clan had been almost wiped out, then the leader must impregnate herself with the last of the clan to make it. Naruto thought, I think that it should help her there. Sume said, what? Naruto said, to tell you the truth, my grandfather was very paranoid, but I have no choice and I need your help since they are people after my power. Kiba said, this is so wrong on many levels. A guy my age is going to be my surrogate father and fucking my mom doggy style. Naruto said, don't worry, Kiba. There is a possible cause that she might not harbor feelings for me. Kiba said, I guess as the Inazaka heir, I have to say this, if you ever hurt either of them, I will castrate you. Naruto said, as much as I doubt you can, I promise not to do such a thing to them nor beat or rape them at all. I am not that kind of person. Plus you got to take a number since there is the council, well the elders and civilians, Danzo, Sasuke, Iwa, the Harunos and maybe more. Then he noticed that something was moving inside of Kiba's jacket and a small puppy popped out of the jacket. And who is this little guy? Naruto asked. This is Akamaru, my ninja dog partner. He helps me fight with my collaboration taijutsu and ninjutsu. Kiba answered while setting Akamaru on the ground. Naruto put his hand in front of Akamaru's nose and he sniffed it and licked his hand. The former Jinchuriki scratched behind his ear and the puppy leaned into his scratching as he said, okay. The date for Sume will be tonight and Hana on Sunday, though I am surprised that women such as yourselves are still single. Sume said, that is because there is no man with the spine to handle me. Kiba said, that is true, I still think Tu-san left because he was scared of Ka-san. Naruto said, I am not surprised, she is kinda scary if you pissed her off. Kiba shuddered, that is true. Naruto said, "Don't worry, I will take care of your sister and maybe your mother if she will have me. In fact, I do own them a lot. I see you two later." Hana smiled at Naruto and Kiba gave his friend a high five before the two left the house, leaving Naruto and Sume. Was that rule actually real? Sume asked. Naruto pulled up a parchment, showing her grandmother's signature and his grandfather's under it, all in print. But either way, I think you do want me. Sume blushed and Naruto said, "I promise to take care of both of you." Sume said, "You shouldn't keep promises that you can't keep, Naruto-kun." She turned to go, but Naruto grabbed her wrist and placed a gentle hand on her waist. "I am not kidding, Sume-chan. I saw you looking at me during the meeting and needless to say, I admit that I did have a crush on you when you saved me that day." Sume smirked. "Ah, that is so sweet, Naru-chan." Naruto replied back in a husky tone. "I bet you were even sweeter." Sume growled at Naruto's husky voice as he gently squeezed the side of her waist. Then the former Jinchuriki let her go and replied, "You better go or Kiba will try to kill me for trying to get his mother's pants already." Sume said, "Like hell he will, I am a grown woman." Naruto said, "And a mother, your son is a mama's boy and cares for you a lot." Sume said, "That is true." She walked out the Namikaze compound with a sway in her hips and Naruto thought, "Damn, I love my life." Soon there was another knock on his door and Naruto yelled, "It's open." The Yamanaka, Nara and Akamichi families came inside with Ino and Choji. Their mouth dropped in awe at the sight of his house and the Naras were just looking bored as always. "Ah, Choza-san, Choji, the kitchen is stocked with food. I figured Tu-san was friends with you, so help yourselves." "Choza-san, I think you know where it is," Naruto said, waving his hand toward the kitchen. Both of the Akamichi bowed quickly and moved to the kitchen with a dust of smoke behind them while the Naras both said, "Troublesome." Naruto moved over to the couch and sat down with his lazyboy chair. "So I am assuming that you three wish to ally yourselves with me as well." Inoichi said, "Why yes, how did you know?" Naruto deadpanned, "Everyone on the council has a look in their eyes to try and rape me for my power and the fact that the Inazaka were here a few minutes ago asking for the same thing." Shikaku said, "Troublesome, he already knows about it." Naruto said, "But it does saves you time from explaining it, Shikaku-san." Shikamaru said, "He has got a point, Dad." Ino looked at the picture of Minato and a pregnant Kushina. "So this is your mother, huh, Naruto? She looks very kind and beautiful." The Yamanaka heiress said, holding the picture up. Naruto gave her a soft smile. "Yes, she was. I just wish that I could have known her in person than in her diary. Apparently I inherited her happy-go-lucky personality and her stubbornness too. But back to business. I will agree to the alliances between all the three of you." Inoichi said, "Great, that includes the marriage contract between you and Ino as well." Ino shouted, "What? But I like Sasuke-kun. Not saying that you are not cute, Naruto." Naruto said, "How about this, Ino? You go on 5 dates with me and at the end, if you don't enjoy yourself, we will break off the marriage contract, but keep the alliance intact, agreed?" Ino nodded. "I agreed, Naruto." Naruto said, "I understand that you might like Sasuke, so for this marriage contract to suddenly drop on you is a shock. I think I am still getting used to all of this around me." Ino nodded dumbly since her mind was in turmoil. She liked Sasuke Uchiha. But yet this new Naruto was now irresistible with his cool demeanor and the open jacket with the bindings worn to cover Naruto's seal and abs were not helping her at all. "I assume that the Hyuga clan will also be here for an alliance as well." Inoichi said, "The old stick in the mud just might. After all, it was your mother who was the one who kicked his ass and told him about his deceased wife's feelings toward him, which got the two together." Naruto said, "HMPH, that sounds like something that I would do." Suddenly there was a knock at the door once again and Naruto excused himself politely to open the door to invite Hiyashi Hyuga and his family along with a scowling 14-year-old boy. "Ah, Lord Hyuga, so glad of you to join us." Come in. Hinata-chan, how are you?" the former Jinchuriki said. The timid girl that was addressed answered, "I am fine, Naruto-kun." The boy said, "That is a bit better, but not good enough. Keep trying hard, Hinata-chan. We will soon get rid of that stutter of yours." Hinata blushed and Naruto turned to see a mini version of a mix between Hiyashi and Hinata. "And who is this?" he asked. The girl said, "I am Hanabi Hyuga. It is a pleasure to meet you, Namikaze-sama." A.N. She is fucking 11 years old in this story and there is nothing you can do about it, Naruto said. Please call me Naruto-san, Hanabi-chan. I abhor formalities when it comes to friend, so don't be shy about using them. He looked at the scowling boy and said, "Pleasure to meet you." The boy was startled to see that the Namikaze was greeting him like he was part of the noble family despite his class as a branch member. "Neji Hyuga," the boy said. "If you are worried about my formality toward you in associating with you as a branch member, then you are mistaken. Unlike everyone else in this room, I know how it feels to have a brand, to feel caged. I will have to show you some time," Naruto said in a serious tone. Neji was surprised at the truth in his words, but was still wary of his claims of a seal. Hinata, Hanabi, Shikamaru and Ino began to wonder what Naruto was talking about. The clan heads were sweating about Naruto and his loose tongue about the Kyuubi no Kitsune. Pretty soon, they would have make up some excuse about it now. Naruto said, "So you would like an alliance with me, Hiyashi-sama?" Hiyashi said, "Yes, I would, and since your heritage is revealed, also the marriage contract between you and Hinata and Hanabi is revealed. Your mother and my wife had planned this already." Naruto said, "Or they threaten you because you are that overprotective father, right?" Hiyashi had the decency to blush and everyone laughed, even the stoic Neji did. Naruto said, "Fine, I will take them both on a date." Hinata said, "How are you going to do that?" Naruto said, "Kage Bunshin. You can never tell the difference and it is just as real. Useful jutsu, I might add." Hiyashi said, "Then it is settled." Naruto said, "Right, if they harbored no feelings for me, then I will let them go and do as they wish." An old voice whistled, "Hee hee hee. Already getting your harem started, eh, Naruto?" Naruto said, "Not at all, Hokage Jiji. I am only agreeing to them for love, not lust or money like some of the villagers do." Sarutobi said, "Just like your father, how are you settling in your new home?" Naruto replied, "It is very roomy." Sarutobi said, Yes, apparently your father and mother planned to make like rabbits for the runes, but the Kyuubi came into play." Naruto said, "I know, that event was not anticipating at all. I mean, the Kyuubi just suddenly came out of nowhere, almost as it was summoned." Sarutobi said, "Well, enough about the Kyuubi, I came to inform you that you have been given the rank of Chunin, but unfortunately you will have to be placed on a genin team for 6 months. The Devil Gene Wielder said, as long as you don't pair me up with Haruno or Uchiha, I will be fine." Sarutobi said, "That has already been arranged, Naruto. I had a feeling that Sakura will most likely try to fawn over you and Sasuke while Sasuke will constantly pester you for your jutsu and taijutsu style." Naruto said, "Exactly." Sarutobi said, "Very well, I will set up the teams shortly." Soon the families left the estate, leaving Naruto to check through the wardrobe. He dressed himself in a red dress shirt and black slacks along with black dress shoes, then dropped by the Yamanaka shop to buy some flowers and strode over to the Inazaka compound. He knocked out the door to reveal a big shaggy husky with an eye patch over his left eye with his right ear missing. "Hello, I would like to see Sume-chan please." The dog nodded and went to get Sume while Naruto stepped inside and sat on the couch in the living room. Sume came out with the dog following close behind, wearing a casual black dress. Naruto whistled, "Nice touch." Sume said, "I aim to please, Naruto-kun. You are pretty good looking yourself." Naruto said, "I always do, Sume-chan. Here, these are for you." Sume took the flowers and said with a smile, "Thank you, they are beautiful." Naruto replied, "Not as beautiful as you." Sume blushed and Naruto said, "Shall we?" Sume said, "May I ask where you are taking me?" Naruto said while holding his arm out, "Oh, not really special. Just going to a fancy restaurant and then a stroll through the park at a night while there is a full moon out." Sume said, "You planned this out, didn't you?" Naruto answered, "What makes you think that, Sume-chan? Anyway, we better go or we will be late and our reservation might get cancelled." Sume took the crook of his arm and walked out of the house to go to the restaurant and the waiter came over to meet them. "Do you have a reservation?" Naruto said, "Yes, Namikaze, 7 o'clock. The waiter looked at his chart and then said, "Right this way, sir." The couple strode over to their table and given menus to order their meals. Sume ordered a sirloin steak while her date ordered chicken Alfredo. So where have you been? Sume said, I heard that you just left using that bloodline of yours to fly out. Naruto said, well, I wandered around until I found an abandoned building near the Valley of the End and rested there. When I explored the building, I happened to fall due to a weakened floorboard and there, I found scrolls that displayed the fighting styles that I use including a few Raiden jutsu. After that, I went to travel around the land, learning jutsu and survival skills along the way. Sume said, you have changed a lot over the years, Naruto-kun. Naruto smirked, oh, is that right, physically or mentally? Sume said with a light blush at the insinuation, both. Naruto said, so what has happened over the years? Sume said, well, as soon as you left, Hokage-sama called the council to inform you of your disappearance from the village. The idiots on the civilian council and the elders immediately called out for your execution until the Hokage shouted at them, making them shut up and literally chewed them out. Then he withheld the information about your parents to the civilian council and the elders to make them curious and slightly fearful. When your classmates heard about it, some of them did have worried looks on their faces according to Kiba, but the Haruno, Uchiha and some of the civilian council's brats just bad-mouthed you. To my son's surprise, Choji Akamichi defended you by yelling at Haruno's little bitch of a daughter. Then the others joined in and the rest of the clan head's children joined in. Next thing you know, Haruno made the mistake of calling Choji fat and Choji got pissed. But then this girl, Amy, I think, she came up and slapped the mess out of Haruno. Naruto said, Amy? Sume nodded. She declared to Haruno that bad-mouthing the person that helped her with her kunai training was wrong and worse than the person that was trying to get you to notice him. Naruto said, Amy-chan. Sume nodded. There was almost a fight between the civilian and ninja clan heirs along with Amy. Ino seemed a bit distraught about the situation. Naruto said, I see, Sakura used to be her best friend until Uchiha-san came in the picture. On top of that, Sasuke agrees that I am a bad influence, but in her heart deep down, she knows that it is wrong. I see her predicament, either she must follow the in-crowd or follow her heart. Suddenly music began to play in the dining room and Naruto got up and said, would you like to dance with me? Sume nodded and the two strode to the dance floor, swaying to the music. The two looked into each other's eyes, his ice blue against her feral brown. Then the dance floor began to heat up and they danced more vigorously and sensuous. They drew closer to each other, their bodies pressed up against each other. They slowed down to draw each other into a kiss until two people decided to kill the moment. The two looked over to the side to see Yasha Haruno along with her daughter, Sakura with peeved and disgusted looks on their faces. What the hell are you doing here with this whore, Naruto-kun? Yasha said seductively. Naruto said, if you are trying to seduce me, then I am afraid that is not working. Also Sume is not a whore compared to you. Yasha said, I demand that you date my daughter Sakura. Naruto said, first of all, you are in no position to order me around especially trying to force your daughter on me. Second, who the fuck you think you are? The fucking daimyo? I told you before, I choose the ladies that I want to marry. When your daughter asks me out on her own free will, then I will consider it. Yasha said, Naruto-kun. Naruto growled, that is Namikaze-sama to you, Councilwoman Haruno. Yasha replied, are we friends, Naruto-kun? The former Jinchuriki replied, since you were one of the people on the council who made my life a living hell no, bitch. If you think that I am so naive like my father was back then, you are sadly mistaken. I will not give you the chance to get in my family. Sakura said, so you would go out with that bitch instead of me or my mother. Sume said, normally I would tolerate people calling me a bitch since I am one, but coming from your mouth, Haruno, is insulting to me. Yasha said, maybe that is why your husband left you, because you couldn't satisfy him at all. Sume retorted, oh, and you think you can satisfy Naruto all to yourself? Sakura said, of course, we Harunos are known for our appeal. Sume said, you mean lack of appeal. Naruto said, I agree with Sume, plus we don't even know if you are a man or woman. You both have no chest at all, on the other hand, Sume-chan. He came up behind the Inazaka matriarch and cupped her ass, she happens to be full in spades. The woman blushed at Naruto and whispered, you are so lucky that this was to prove a point. Naruto whispered back, the main point was that you like it. Sume muttered, true. Yasha said, "Oh, please, she was the one that got me and Minato together in the first place." Naruto eyed Sume, who confirmed the truth with a nod. "That may be true, but surely my father was warned plenty of times about you by Sume-chan and various people, but he always saw the good in people. He thought that he could change you, but he saw you for what you really are, an evil, conniving bitch who would do anything for money, even give her own daughter's virginity to get the cash." Yasha growled, "Like that bitch can produce you any strong heirs, she is just trying to get in your pants as well." Naruto gripped his fist and sighed, "Councilwoman, you need to stop pissing me off or else." Yasha said, "Or else what? You punish me? I have been a very bad girl, Naruto-sama." A shudder came on Naruto's spine and Sume growled at Yasha, "Yasha, leave my date alone or we will charge you with UAL harassment." Yasha moved to slap Sume, but Naruto grabbed her wrist. "I have a code of not beating women, but this, I will make an exception considering nobody knows what the hell your gender is." Naruto slammed her face into the wall and dragged it across the wall, and next, the former Jinchuriki threw her out the window, making Yasha crumple to the ground. He turned to Sakura and said, "Are you going to be dumb like your mother or move the fuck out of my way?" Sakura fainted and soon a familiar wetness surrounded her private area. Naruto grabbed Sume's hand and left the building after he took money from his pocket to give it to the waiter. "Here is the money to pay for the window along with your tip. Thank you for serving us." The two walked out of the restaurant with Sume in tow. Sume said, "Naruto, I." The Jinchuriki turned the corner and gently pushed her into the wall and began to kiss her roughly. Sume was surprised at his aggressiveness and returned it eagerly, trying her hardest to establish dominance. Naruto slowly calmed down and began to kiss her more gently, making Sume moan in pleasure. When the two separated, Sume said, "Wow." Naruto said, "I apologize if I offend you in any way, it was either beating the shit out of Haruno or kissing you." Sume smirked, "You chose correctly, Naruto-kun." The former Jinchuriki said, "Well, let's get you home and prepare for the headache tomorrow." Classroom Iruka said, "Okay, now when your name is called, please proceed to the testing area. The jutsu that you must have to pass is the Bunshin no Jutsu." Naruto thought, "What the hell? The Bunshin no Jutsu? That is way too easy, I am going to have to change that rule when I see Hokage Jii next time. This is ridiculous." One by one, the students went into the room and came out with a headband on their persona. Naruto's name was called and he proceeded to the testing room to see a smiling Iruka and a slightly scowling Mizuki. "Please perform the specified jutsu," Iruka said in a professional manner. Naruto sighed and made 3 bunchins. "This is so pointless, why don't they have a harder graduation exam?" Naruto took his headband and tied it around his waist, then he noticed Mizuki had a look of greed on his face. Someone wants power and the nearest and most powerful jutsu are located in the old man's personal library. I got to stop him before he gets it, he thought to himself. Outside the academy, Naruto was asleep against the tree under the shade. Then he noticed 2 women giving him glares as they saw that he had a headband. Naruto smirked and sent a glare laced with killing intent, making the 2 women gasp and quiver in fear. Then he saw Mizuki talking with a boy who failed the exam and immediately Naruto knew that the Chunin was a bad apple. Naruto made a hand sign to Shunshin to the Hokage and tell him about Mizuki's plan to steal the strongest known jutsu in Konoha. The Sandaime listened to Naruto and sure enough, the kid was apprehended before he could take the scroll of sealing. Mizuki was soon apprehended as well by Anbu, then executed for treason, making Naruto get a B-rank mission under his belt for reporting it to him. Next day, Naruto was called to the council room and walked in to see Haruno with various gauze pads on her face. He smirked at the sight and winked at Sume, who did the same gesture. "Naruto Namikaze, you are accused of physically assaulting councilwoman Yasha Haruno, how do you plead?" Homura said. Naruto said, "Not guilty." Kaharu said, "We know that you are guilty, Namikaze. There are witnesses that saw you throw Haruno out the window." Naruto said, "I will admit that I did that. But after councilwoman Haruno and her daughter tried to force me to date one of them." Homura said, "Do you have any proof of this matter?" Naruto said, "Yes, a tape recorder of the whole bout and my own witness, Sume Inazaka." Naruto played the tape recorder, which made Yasha frown and Sume smirked at her predicament. The Namikaze cut it off, now if you will excuse me, I need to know my teammates. Naruto did a hand sign and shunshin away to the classroom. Classroom Iruka called out roll just as Naruto appeared in the seat next to Hinata. Sasuke seethed in anger that he made his flashy entrance. Glad that you could make it, Naruto. Now for your teams, Team 7 will be Aburame Shino, Uchiha Sasuke and Haruno Sakura. Team 8 will be Inazaka Kiba, Hyuga Hinata and Uzumaki Naruto, and Team 10 will be Nara Shikamaru, Akamichi Choji and Yamanaka Ino. The Chunin said. Naruto smirked that the Sandaime Hokage came through for him. He got a team that had no weaklings on the team or power-hungry fools nor fangirls trying to get in his pants. Sakura was a bit disappointed in her team. Her mother was supposed to win that case with charges of assault, and Naruto along with Sasuke would be on her team. That way she would be able to help the Uchiha with his power by seducing Naruto and get his fortune, then move to Sasuke to become his wife. Instead she got Sasuke and the resident bug extraordinaire. Damn it, this was not supposed to happen. Sakura thought. Inner Sakura retorted, this was supposed to happen, Naruto is nothing to be played with. Sakura retorted, shut up, I have no idea why Ka-san sealed your soul into me for. You are so annoying as hell. Inner Sakura shouted, fuck you, Sakura? Naruto noticed Sakura lost in thought and her facial expressions were changing from panic to pissed off. Why does she look like she is conflicting with herself? Does she have a demon sealed by her mother or another soul? I guess I need to search Sato's memories again for a soul-searching jutsu. Iruka began on this grand speech about the life of a ninja and their dangers that they will face. Naruto tuned him out already knowing about the life of a ninja. It was cake to a life of a Jinchuriki. Iruka said, we will take a 5-minute break and return here to wait for your senseis to arrive. The classroom filed out of the classroom and Naruto went with Kiba and Hinata. Okay, Hinata, Kiba, I would like to know your strengths and weaknesses. Naruto said. Kiba said, my strength is my ninjutsu, which enhances my speed and senses to like a dog's own. I work with Akamaru with my jutsu too. My weaknesses are, well, hurting Akamaru and then I lose all rationality. Hinata said, my strength is my taijutsu style, the Jukin along with its techniques. My weaknesses are long-range fighters and my inability to hurt others. Naruto nodded, my strengths are my taijutsu and my ninjutsu. My weaknesses are high-level genjutsu. Kiba said, yeah, we saw that when you kicked that 2 Jonin's asses. Hinata said, so Naruto-kun is a ninjutsu taijutsu type, Kiba is a taijutsu ninjutsu type and I am a taijutsu genjutsu type. Basically Kiba-san is a close-range fighter with the Inazaka-style taijutsu, and if Kiba is overwhelmed, Naruto can help with his ninjutsu and taijutsu. I can provide support against genjutsu. Naruto smiled, good observation, Hinata, and you didn't stutter at all either. Hinata blushed at the praise and Kiba chuckled, geez, Hinata, you blushed at everything, don't you? Hinata said, no, that is not it. Naruto gave a small chuckle, Kiba, stop teasing her. Kiba retorted, must you ruin my fun? Naruto said, yes. Then Sasuke and Sakura came up to Team 8 and Naruto instantly became cold. Hey, Dobi, Sasuke said. Naruto ignored him and Sasuke shouted, hey, I am talking to you. The former Jinchuriki at that time to inspect his fingernails while Kiba glared at Sasuke for being rude. The Uchiha said, Namikaze? Naruto perked up, yes? Sasuke said, didn't you hear a word I said? I have been calling you for the long while. Naruto replied, actually, no, basically you have been called someone Adobe. I figure that you were referring to yourself, Uchiha. The Uchiha bristled in anger, but then he composed himself and put on a smug smile. I will overlook your insolence just this once, I want you to give me power. Naruto said, I prefer to keep my power under wraps if you don't mind. Sasuke said, you are making a big mistake, Namikaze. It will be an honor to teach the most powerful ninja. Naruto replied, is that so? Then how come no known Uchiha has become the Hokage at all? Sasuke's mouth snapped shut at the comment that Naruto made, and then the former Jinchuriki said, and another thing, if the Uchiha is so strong, then how come they were killed so fast by another Uchiha and the only survivor can't defeat the so-called dead last? Sasuke gripped his fists at the insult as Naruto continued, the one who did it was your own brother Itachi Uchiha. Quote, Sasuke said, "Shut up, what do you know about my life?" Naruto said, "To be honest, everything and nothing, because I could care less about your tragedy. Uchiha, you are nothing to me. Hell, I could kill you in my sleep." Sasuke said, "Which is why I need you to give me more power. I need it to kill Itachi and avenge my clan." Naruto said, "The answer is still no, Uchiha. Even if you try to force the council to teach you, I will do nothing. Now leave me, I have no time to waste time with spoiled brats like you." The boy growled, but left, knowing about Naruto's power to face a Jonin head-on. Then Naruto turned to Sakura and growled out, "And what do you want, Haruno?" Sakura put a finger to her lips and did a makeshift pout. "You already know what I want, Naruto-kun." Hinata scowled as she thought, that hussy, she didn't give a damn about him when he was in the academy. Now that his heritage is revealed, she wants to get in her pants. Naruto said, "I am going to have to say no to your request. I don't like weak people, especially fangirls." Sakura said, "HMPH, what about that bitch over there?" Naruto got up and killing intent spread out from his body, scaring Sakura to death. "Look, like I said, I don't care about weak girls, but I am pretty sure that Hinata can pretty much kick your ass without breaking a sweat. Don't insult her because of your insecurities. Admit it, or shall I remind you of your little fainting spell when your idiot of a mother tried to assault Sume-san." Kiba perked up. "Say what?" Naruto replied, "Your mother and I were out yesterday night and Councilwoman Haruno along with this weakling over here tried to force me to date and take one of them as wife." Kiba growled, "You better get the hell out of here, Haruno, or I will maim that so-called pretty face of yours." Sakura shrank away as inner Sakura shouted, "See what you have done, listening to that bitch of a mother is getting us into trouble." Sakura said, "Shut up, you bitch." Naruto thought, there it is again, something is going on here. Sakura moved away from them and shouted, "This is not over, you will be mine, Naruto." The former Jinchuriki thought, "What are you, Sakura Haruno? What is it that is conflicting inside you?" Hinata's voice slowly woke him from his thoughts. "Naruto-kun." Naruto looked at Hinata. "Yes, Hinata?" Hinata said, I think it is time to go back to class." The blonde boy nodded and the three of them strode forward to the classroom. Sasuke and Sakura immediately glared at them as they sat down. Akamaru came out and sat on Hinata's lap while she softly petted him while humming a low tune. Kiba and Naruto talked to each other to pass the time about Naruto's 6-year travel. Naruto knew Kiba was very loyal now that he knew about the Harunos trying to assault his mother, therefore he knew that he could trust him and he knew Hinata wouldn't tell a soul pertaining anything to him. Suddenly Jonin filed into the room. A purple long-haired woman with black eyes in a Jonin vest came in. "I'm Yugao Izuki, I am here for Team 8. She said. Naruto, Hinata and Kiba rose up and Yugao looked at them. "Follow me to training area 5. The three nodded and Yugao thought, "Interesting, I got Namikaze as one of my students. He is kind of cute too." Next, Asuma and Kurenai came inside, making Naruto smirk as he remembered her. "Hi, Kurenai-chan." Naruto waved. Kurenai blushed and Asuma began to get a grin just like his father. "Naruto, be careful if you make Kurenai blush any further, she will just turn into an apple." Naruto caught on with the notion, HMPH, I wouldn't mind taking a bite out of that apple. I bet that it is very juicy. Kurenai blushed even further with embarrassment as well as Hinata, who was blushing due to the naughty thoughts in her head. Kurenai said, Stop that." Naruto said, "Stop what?" Kurenai said, "Stop making me blush." Naruto cocked his head to the side, "But it is cute making you blush. And that pout is not helping your predicament, Kurenai-chan." Kurenai said, "Team 10, please come with us." Ino, Shikamaru and Choji showed up. Ino asked, "Wait, why do we get 2 senseis instead of 1? Asuma said, "Oh, Kurenai is here for motivation since looking at your records, especially Shikamaru and Choji's battle records." Yugao said, "Come on, Naruto, let's go." Naruto nodded and left with his team. Training Area 5. "Okay, my name is Yugao Izuki, my likes are tempura, swords and my fiancé. My dislikes are people who threaten my home and my hobbies are training. My dream, well, I am getting there." Hinata said, "I'm Hinata Hyuga. My likes are zezai, cinnamon rolls, my family and Naruto-kun. My dislikes are the council, the caged bird seal and seafood, My hobbies are pressing flowers and singing. My dream is to change my family and make them become one. Kiba spoke, I'm Kiba Inazaka and this is my dog, Akamaru. My likes are my family, my team, beef jerky and cheeseburger. My dislikes are the Harunos, Uchiha, people who hurt dogs for no reason and anything that is not chewy. My dream is to become head of the Inazaka clan. Naruto opened his eyes and said, I'm Naruto Namikaze, my likes are Hokage Oji-san, the Shinobi Council and their clan heirs, walking in the forest, watering plants and pulling pranks. My dislikes are the Harunos, Uchiha, the civilian council, some of the ninja and civilian that judge a book by its cover. My hobbies are reading, relaxing, looking at sunsets and eating ramen. My dream, I have no thought of it yet. Yugao said, now that we are acquaintanced, we will begin your real genin test tomorrow. Kiba said, but we already took it. Yugao said, that was to see if you can control chakra effectively. This is to test your physical strength. And this test has a 66.6% failure rate. Kiba and Hinata gulped at the mention of the failure rate, but Naruto smirked. Well, the impossible can always happen with us. Yugao said, we will see. Now you are dismissed for today and I recommend not eating or you will throw up. The three of them nodded and went out to their respected homes, wondering what would happen tomorrow. Naruto, Kiba, Hinata arrived at the training area number 4 to see Yugao in her Jonin uniform. She was fidgeting with it as if it was uncomfortable for her. Naruto voiced their arrival. It would be hard for her to adjust from being transferred to Anbu back to Jonin. Nay, Neko-chan. Yugao said, how did you? Naruto said, unlike Kakashi, you took the time to change your hair, which is very nice by the way, but you can't change your voice. Yugao nodded and started fidgeting with it again and Naruto sighed as he came over to her and helped her with it. Thanks, Yugao said. Naruto saluted, no problem, sensei. Yugao said, going over your skills from your files and relationships, you three are good with teamwork despite Naruto being back in by the demonstration. Naruto is high Chunin level in his Genjutsu and Ninjutsu, but mid-Jonin in Taijutsu. Overall he is just borderline on Jonin level. So Hinata, Kiba, your objective is to hit me. Akamaru barked and Yugao said, oh, I'm sorry and Akamaru as well. Kiba said, okay, are you ready, Hinata? Hinata said, why yes. The Inazaka along with Akamaru moved into their Taijutsu stance while Hinata slid into the traditional Hyuga stance. Yugao smirked a bit as she slid into her Taijutsu stance while Naruto moved back to give his teammates room. He thought, the moon-styled Taijutsu style, based on the stages of the moon. It's quite complicated, but able to fend off multiple attacks, but there are two flaws, finding a single opponent and the new moon stage is most vulnerable. Kiba shouted, Ninpo, Shikyaku no Jutsu. Chakra became visible all over his body as he crouched down to attack his sensei. Yugao blocked Kiba's elbow and noticed that Akamaru leapt off his partner's back to bite at her head. She immediately pushed Kiba away and leapt back to avoid Akamaru's strike. Then Hinata appeared behind her to strike, but Yugao twisted to the side, making her avoid Hinata's strike and kicked her in the back. Kiba caught Hinata to right her footing and continued on, but started to attack Yugao. Naruto noticed Kiba's moves and thought, his moves, they look like, yes, it resembles the capoeira style, this will be interesting. His speed would make capoeira perfect for his speed and agility. Kiba swiped at Yugo's torso, but she blocked with her forearm, then Kiba tried to hit him in the face, but she grabbed his wrist and twisted it behind his back. Kiba yelped in pain and Akamaru tried to bite Yugo's ankle but the former Anbu raised her foot before he could try to bite her. Hinata came up and tried to hit Yugao in the back, but Yugao sensed her and kicked her in the stomach. Naruto smirked, they are quite in a predicament. Well, Yugao-sensei didn't order me to stay back or help them, so I will join in the fun. Naruto sped toward Yugao and sent a palm thrust at her torso, making Yugao lose her grip on Kiba and send her flying into the tree. Thanks, man, but we are the ones who have to hit her though. Naruto replied, that is true, but she never said I couldn't help. I subdue her and then all three of you can get a hit. I will need you to stay behind for a while. I know you are not weak, Kiba. But her taijutsu style is much easier since it can fend off multiple opponents, but against a single opponent, it is useless. She was switching stances constantly on the both of you. Hinata said, What should we do? Naruto said, Kiba, I want you and Akamaru to try and lure over here. Then once that happens, back off, so I can subdue her, then you two can hit her. Kiba said, right? Naruto said, Hinata, use your Byakugan to figure out where she is. Hinata looked over to the trees and said, she is just a few feet away from us and she is behind the second tree 3 o'clock from Naruto-kun's right. Naruto said, thanks, now wait here for a moment. The Jinchuriki sped over to Yugo's position and narrowly avoided a slash from Yugo's Anbu katana. Ooh, sharp. I got to be careful with that sword of yours. Naruto commented. Yugao got into her stance, I was wondering when you were going to join in. Naruto said, though you didn't give me an order, you knew that Kiba, Akamaru and Hinata couldn't defeat you at all despite how good their teamwork was. If I have gone in with them, you would have a bit of trouble and could possibly be defeated. Even someone on cage level could be defeated by a horde of genin. Teamwork always works best. Yugao said, nice observation, Naruto. But this is not your test. Naruto said, but you couldn't say that I couldn't help them hit you. Naruto pulled out a scroll and unsealed his weapons, twin-bladed tonfas. Yugao cocked an eyebrow, bladed tonfas? Naruto replied, what? You never thought I would prepare for someone who was a specialist in weapons. I think not. Naruto moved into the capoeira stance and moved toward his sensei, swinging his tonfas. She blocked his attack and then he fell back and did an izumi. Yugao moved to the side and tried to slash at his head, but Naruto rose his tonfas to block the attack. The boy rolled forward and sent a sabot to her chest, making Yugao fly into the tree. When she looked up, Naruto was in front of her with his tonfa poised to stab her. She avoided the strike, causing the tonfa in his right hand to sink deep into the trunk. Next, Yugao slid her katana across the tonfa to behead him, but the former Jinchuriki saw this and let go of his weapon. He twirled his tonfa and slid back into his stance while Yugao moved into hers. Then she sprang forward, Konoha no Ryu, Mikazuki no Mai. Naruto watched as Yugo's persona split into 4 clones and surrounded him. Naruto smirked as he commented, using your speed in order to make clones. But in the end, there is only one. He suddenly moved to the right where Yugao was trying to attack, then he caught her collar to throw out in the open. Yugao fell to the ground, sprawling out for the moment. Then she felt a hit on her back, then to her side and a bite on her ankle. G got you, sensei. Hinata said. Yugao said, good job, you took advantage of the situation and used it to the fullest. You 3 passed with flying colors. Naruto walked to his team's position, that is good. Yugao said, okay, your first mission starts tomorrow. Now before we leave, I want to leave with some parting words that my senpai in Anbu told me. Those that abandon the mission are trash, but those who abandon their comrades are worse than trash. And my fiancé said to me, no matter what happens, follow your dreams and protect your honor always. The team nodded and Yugao said, you are dismissed for today. Yugao leaf shunshined away to report that her team had passed. Naruto turned to Kiba and Hinata. Hey, Hinata, Kiba, I want to teach you guys something. Kiba said, what do you want to teach us, Naruto? I think that we are the strongest team already. Naruto smirked, you are confident, Kiba, but be careful, confidence and arrogance walk hand in hand on the same path. Anyway, I noticed that your taijutsu is similar to my capoeira. You have the movements, I just need to teach you the footings. He turned to Hinata, and Hinata, you are graceful and perfect for the Kazama-style karate. I will teach you the basics of it after team training meetings. Kiba said, but I thought you didn't want to teach any of your moves to anybody. Naruto said, I didn't know you guys that much until we met. Plus I know that you two can keep secrets as my teammates. Kiba, you are loyal to your family, your village and your friends to a fault. Plus it will give you an edge against the Uchiha if he gained his Sharingan. Your taijutsu is very unpredictable and with capoeira, it is very unpredictable. Hinata, you are gentle and caring but underconfident. Being on this team will help you with that and your taijutsu requires precise precision just like the Kazama style. Plus if your chakra is supposedly jacked, you can fall back on the style. Hyuga clan rules be damned. Naruto said, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. 2 clones appeared and Naruto said, these clones will show you the basics of the styles and then once you got them down, they will spar with you. I will observe your progress. Both Kiba and Hinata nodded as their respected clones moved in beside them and started to teach them the katas while Akamaru was seated beside Naruto, who was scratching behind his ears. For 30 minutes, the clones would do the katas, and then for 20 minutes, the clones would spar against them. Needless to say, Naruto had to hold back on them a little bit to not severely hurt them. Besides the Harunos, the civilian council and the Uchiha were practically his bitches now to toy and or beat the shit out of. Then he taught them each a jutsu. To Hinata, he taught Suiten, Mizurapa and Kiba Raiden, Hiraishin. This took for 2 hours and then they all retired for the day. Before he went home, he made a notion to visit his father and mother's grave. He walked to the grave and said, "Hey Ka-san, To-san, it's me, Naruto, your son. It has been a long time since we last met. I mean, the last time you two laid eyes on me was when I was a baby. Anyway, I wanted you two to know that due to some circumstances, the Kyuubi is destroyed and I gained its memories along with the previous holder of the devil gene, the Jubi no Ryu. Unlike him, I overcame my devil side and now control it. I left the village for 6 years to train and then I found out that you two were my parents. Dad, personally I was pissed that you were the one who put the Kyuubi inside of me. But slowly realized why you did it. You couldn't trust anyone but me because you knew me. You knew that I was your son. Oh, and good job on kicking Haruno's ass. She is a pain in the ass along with her daughter. Also Mom, thanks for bringing me into this world. I love you. I will return here to put some flowers on your grave once I return here again." He left the gravesite and found Kakashi standing in front of the memorial. "Did you finish with your team, Kakashi-san?" Naruto asked. Kakashi said, "No, I haven't even started with them yet." The former Jinchuriki looked at the sun's position. "It has been 2 hours now. Don't you think that you should go to them?" Kakashi said, "They will be fine." Naruto asked, "Obito and Rin, huh?" Kakashi said, "So you know?" Naruto said, "To-san had a picture of you with your teammates on his desk along with his picture with Ka-san." Kakashi said, "He was the friend that I had never had, even though he was already late and came up with some kind of excuse. When my father committed suicide, I always thought that friends were overrated since everyone ridiculed my dad for his decision to abandon the mission for his team's lives. When we were on a mission to destroy the Kanani Bridge during the Third Great Shinobi War, me and Obito were at odds, especially since I was just promoted to Jonin at 12. When Rin was captured, I was going to abandon her for the mission, but Obito got fed up and knocked some sense into me. He told me the words that I will never forget: those who abandon the mission are trash." Naruto finished, "But those who abandon their comrades are worse than trash. Yugao-sensei told me that her senpai told her that when she started Anbu." Kakashi said, "Yugao-chan is a sensei now, eh? That is nice. She is tough, but she will be gentle with your team." Anyway, Obito left to save Rin and soon after that, I came after him. My eye was destroyed in a battle against one of the Iwa Nin we encountered and Obito activated his Sharingan finally. We rescued Rin and one of the ninja was barely alive, activated a seal that caused the cave to collapse. I was in the middle and Obito noticed a rock was about to hit me, so he pushed me out of the way and the rest crushed his right side completely. He asked Rin, a medical ninja, to take his eye and give it to me as my present to becoming a Jonin. After that, Obito died and I grew angry at myself and Iwa for taking him away from me, from us. Obito was in love with Rin, who was in love with me. I knew that she liked me, but I never took the time to return the feelings. When I saw a group of Iwa Chunin, I charged in with my perfected Chidori and one of your father's Hiraishin Kanai. I fell unconscious and found out that Sensei had destroyed the rest of the group. We moved on with a heavy heart and completed the mission. Kakashi lifted up his Sharingan to show to Naruto, "With this eye, I feel like that I am living both of our lives out." It is what he would have wanted. To see the future along with me. Naruto said, "What happened to Rin?" Kakashi said, "She disappeared on a mission to Kumo. We never found her, but something tells me that she is alive." Naruto said, "I see, so you adopted Obito's lifestyle. But seriously Kakashi, you shouldn't mope around too much, playing scenarios." Kakashi looked at Naruto, who was looking at the memorial as well. "I think your father, Obito, Rin, To-san. They would have wanted for you to live your life with your head held high instead of moping around like a sick puppy." Kakashi said, "You are right, Naruto. Living in the past is bad for one's health. You understand that more than I do. I will try to do as you ask. Naruto said, good, Kakashi, now move. You have a team to pass or fail. Kakashi said, most likely fail. I have the Uchiha, Haruno and Shino Aburame. Naruto said, I believe Shino could make good progress, so can the Uchiha if he didn't demand everything. Haruno, she needs a wake-up call. Kakashi said, now that is going to be hard. Yashiteme was stubborn and I think Sakura will be worse than her. Naruto said, then let's hope that they don't pass and then you can take Shino as your apprentice. Naruto walked home. Today was a good day. He knew that his team was going to be the best for sure since Yugao and he himself would see to that. Also he dated one of Konoha's most hottest and strongest kunoichi and was going to date said hot kunoichi's daughter tonight. I just hope that those people won't try to do anything to us like me and Sume. But I think I got my point across with Yasha and Sakura. Naruto thought as he dressed himself into a formal wear, so let's see, I have dated Sume and now I am going on a date with Hana. Next will be Ino, then Hinata and Hanabi. Then Ino for 4 times. Maybe Amy for defending me. The former Jinchuriki walked down toward the Inazaka compound and moved through the gates. He found himself greeted by the kennel and smiled, hey, guys, how have you been? The dogs began to bark and Naruto petted each one before going to the door. Before he knocked on the door, Kiba opened the door and said, hey, Naruto, come on in. She has been expecting you. Naruto said, right, I forgot Inazakas had an acute sense of smell. Kiba said, yeah, but I expect you to protect my sister even though she is a chunin. I know some guys that are still obsessed with her like this one dude named Tenchi. Naruto replied, don't worry, Kiba, I will protect her with my life. I think I made a good impression on people who mess with me when I dated your mother. Kiba shuddered, please. Don't mention my mom and the word date in the same sentence. I rather not have any mental images of you two doing anything. UAL. Naruto chuckled, alright, Kiba, I will spare you the details. Kiba said, thanks, Naruto. Just then Sume came in, hello, Naruto-kun. Naruto smiled, what's up, Sume-chan? Sume said, nothing much, it has been quite boring besides the fact that we screwed Yasha over a bit. Naruto said, on my side, it has been quite interesting. Yugao Izuki is our sensei. Sume said, I know, Kiba would not stop talking about how you actually got Yugao to get out in the opening, getting Hinata, Akamaru and himself hit her. Naruto said, I just got her in the opening. Even though I was evaluated earlier, that doesn't mean I have to sit back and watch my teammates fight. If I can help, I will help regardless of my sensei's orders. Lives are more important than a mission. Sume thought, he is quite mature for his age, almost like Minato-kun. Then she said, it is good that you value that, Naruto-kun. I just hope the idiot villagers can see that quality in you. Naruto said, I highly doubt it, people can be very ignorant when it comes to power. That ignorance leads to fear, then to anger, then to hate, and lastly suffering. I don't care if they don't accept it, but as long as there is one person who accepts me, then I will be fine. Sume smiled and nodded at him while Kiba said, well, I am going to practice with Akamaru. Those moves were a bit hard to do. Naruto replied, don't worry, you will get the hang of it, Kiba. It took me a year to get good at capoeira, just keep practicing and eventually you will be able to get it down. Kiba nodded and left the room while Hana walked downstairs, wearing a black dress and high heels. She had a pearl bracelet on her left hand and a small golden chain around her neck, reaching to the edge of her valley. Wow, somebody went all out tonight. Sume said, teasing her daughter. Hana said, Ka-san, not in front of the date. Naruto smiled, it's okay. I am flattered that you took so much time to impress me, Hana-chan. Hana blushed a bit. I hope you are not angry with me for taking so much time. Naruto smiled, not at all, Hana-chan. I think that it was worth the wait. Now shall we? Hana nodded and Naruto got up to escort her out the door while Sume called out, now Naruto-kun. I want her back safe and sound, and with her virginity intact. Both Naruto and Hana blushed a bit and Hana protested, Ka-san. Naruto replied, I will do as you ask, Sume-chan. But for the last one, I am not sure about myself. Hana blushed at the implication and the two walked together to a different restaurant. Table for 2 by Namikaze. Naruto said. The waiter looked up and said, Ah, Naruto-san, right this way. The waiter led the two to a table and sat them both down. So Hana, tell me about yourself. Naruto said as they waited for their food to come. Hana replied, well, I am a veterinarian and prefer to care for animals. I am a chunin and partnered up with 3 ninja dogs called the Haimaru brothers. I enjoy long walks in the park and just nature in general. I also like to hang out with my friends, right now. I am the only one in the group that is still a chunin. Like in Inazaka, I am very loyal to friends and family, but it seems I have inherited my father's slow to anger unlike my mother and brother. I dislike traitors, disrespect, rapists, pedophiles, etc. I would like to know more about you, Naruto-kun. Naruto said, well, me. I am a genin with power to fight on par with the average jonin. I like walking in the forest and looking at the moon. I don't know why, but it makes me feel peaceful. I have a no-nonsense attitude in contrast to my former self 6 years ago. I prefer to live my life as I should other than being manipulated by old fools like those on the council. I have no friends, only allies at the moment, but in time I will get to know my teammates and other friends that I seem to have gained during my absence. I have inherited my father's resourcefulness along with my mother's style for ninjutsu. I have trained myself in taijutsu, had to infiltrate Kumo to get some of their jutsu and can dispel genjutsu by will. I dislike Konoha for its ignorance, but I will protect it because of my friends that live here. Then the waiter came and gave them their food. Hana got her spaghetti with meatballs and Naruto got himself a medium rare steak seasoned with lemon pepper and herbs. As they ate together, they talked about different things such as music, art and other things. Naruto found out that Hana used to sing when she was little until she had to train and be groomed to be the next head of the Inazaka clan along with her brother at the age of 15. She is 18 years old while Naruto is 13. Soon the restaurant was in the moment of closing when they finished talking to each other. Oh, wow, it is getting late. Hana commented, we better get you home before Sume-chan thinks I am taking your virginity. Naruto said with a smirk. Hana blushed as she thought of Naruto ravaging her like an alpha should. I wouldn't mind that at all, she thought. Naruto noticed the blush and teased her. Oh, is Hana thinking dirty thoughts about me? Naughty little minx. Hana said, no way. The former Jinchuriki laughed at the girl as she pouted, sticking her bottom lip out a bit. Come on, let's go, Naruto said, ushering her out the door. The two walked home in the starry night with the warm air surrounding them. They were a few yards away from the Inazaka compound until Naruto stopped abruptly. Naruto said, Hana? Hana's face grew grim and whispered, I know, I smell them. Without turning around, Naruto asked, can I help you gentlemen? The former Jinchuriki tilted his head a little to the side to find that there were about 7 Chunin-level ninjas behind him. One of them said, you can start by leaving the girl with us. We will take care of her from here. The Namikaze looked at Hana and back at the thugs. I don't think she wants to go with you. The spokesman pulled out a kunai. It is not a request. A friend of ours told us to fetch her. Naruto said, well, tell that friend that Hana-chan doesn't want to go to him. I am not leaving her with you. The group began to pull out tantos and kunai menacingly while Hana tried to put up a front. Naruto said, Hana-chan, don't move. You can't move well in that dress of yours. It seems that I will have to take care of this. Naruto fixed the cuffs on his sleeves, then moved into the Mishima-style stance and said in monotone, Koi. The spokesman said, boys, let's teach him not to mess with us, we can take him. Naruto thought, I guess they didn't see my performance. No matter, I better not hurt them badly or else I will have the council on my ass and Yashiteme will make an excuse to have with me as punishment. The men charged at Naruto and the Namikaze heir moved to the side to plant the back of his fist into a thug's stomach, then he used the palm of his hand to hit the thug's face. Next, he turned to the side to catch a stab from a thug's tanto and knife hand chop his wrist to make him drop it. He grabbed the man and drove his knee into the solar plexus, effectively knocking him out. Naruto moved back into his stance with the remaining 5, his eyes darting back and forth between the thugs to see who would make the first move. The one on his right side tensed and Naruto moved before he could strike. He gave the thug an uppercut along with an elbow strike as the thug's chin shot upward. Then 2 came up behind him and swiped at Naruto's legs, but he back-flipped over and kicked them in the back. The thugs landed face forward while Naruto landed on his back, but then he did an Izumi. planting both feet into a thug's face as he was getting up. The devil gene wielder shook the dirt off of his clothes and looked at the one that stood before him. Are you going to run or join your fate with your friends? The thug was unsure of himself, but his resolve came back quickly as he remembered his friend's request and the threat that was interlaced in the request if they had failed. The thug moved forward and Naruto stood still for a moment before sidestepping to the left and putting out his right arm, making the thug clothesline himself. The thug flipped in the air for a moment before landing on his back. The thug arced his back before groaning in pain, then he heard Hana gasp out in pain. Naruto turned to Hana to see that the one who was playing spokesman had her trapped and a kunai was dangerously close to her neck. Let me go now or she will get hurt. The thug ordered. You wouldn't dare. Your friend requested her to be brought to him. Naruto said and the spokesman replied, yes, but I am sure he wouldn't mind if she was a little damaged. As long as her V-card is still there, then she will be fine. Naruto narrowed his eyes and noticed that his shoulder was open. To the left of him, a thug's kunai was in his palm. Hana-chan, don't move. I will get you out of this mess. Naruto said, reassuring her. Hana nodded and replied, good because this guy smells like rotten eggs. I am going to need a long shower after this. Naruto nodded and looked at the thug with cold cerulean eyes and the thug felt a cold shiver under his skin. Then the former Jinchuriki acted by using his foot to kick up the kunai, then he leapt in the air to kick the kunai toward the thug's shoulder. The kunai hit its mark and the thug howled in pain as he loosed his hold on Hana. Hana took the time to elbow him in the stomach, then she swung her fist across his jawbone. Next, she clapped her hands on his ears, making him disoriented and her hand turned into claws as she slashed at the thug's chest, making lacerations tear his vest and ninja mail shirt. She drove her knee into the ninja's groin hard, making the ninja fall to the ground in shock and she pushed his head, making the man fall to the ground in the fetal position. Naruto looked at her work and whistled, wow, remind me to never get you mad. Hana said, all Inazakas have a temper, but mine is a bit slower. Naruto said, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. 8 clones appeared and 7 of them picked up the men while the 8th one was sent to notify the Hokage of the altercation. Now, without any interruption, let's get you home. Naruto said. Hana said, I wonder why Ka-san didn't come to get us. Her sense of smell is way better than mine. The former Jinchuriki replied, easy, she knows that we can take care of ourselves. I am Jonin level in skill while you are Chunin level. The people that would harass me are usually civilians, 2% of the Genin, 60% of the Chunin and 28% of the Jonin. Mostly we would be encountering Chunin since they are the majority of those who hate me for my tenant. Hana nodded, they are fools to mess with you. From the stories that Ka-san told me, your father was the best seal master in Konohagakure and since we don't know the seal's properties, damaging it would be fatal to us. I mean, if the seal had ran on your willpower and your spirit had broken earlier, we would have all died because of the villagers' stupidity. I'm glad that you had not decided to take revenge despite the majority's idiot actions. Naruto said, some people are worth saving. I don't blame the innocent, just the council. They have walked over Hokage Jii too much, but finally he has taken that power back. They walked inside the compound and Sume was waiting in the living room. Hello, you two. I trust you had fun, especially with that workout. The Inazaka matriarch said. Hana said, as a matter of fact, yes, we did. A few months had passed and Team Azuki, also known as Team 8, flourished more than the other rookie teams due to their excellent teamwork and under the tutelage of Yugao Azuki. Naruto automatically became the appointed second in command without any opposition, much to the surprise of Yugao. The Inazaka clan, when placed on a team, would always challenge anyone for leadership. It was their nature in their canine blood, yet Kiba never did. Naruto trained Kiba, Akamaru and Hinata into the ground to learn their respective styles. Kiba changed and became less impatient and impulsive. He also never got berserk over the fact that Akamaru gets injured or unconscious during a fight. Naruto made sure that Kiba was still level-headed at that scenario. The Inazaka proved to be perfect with the dancing style of capoeira and with the help of Shikyaku no Jutsu. His lengthened claws caused stinging lacerations to distract the opponent. Now Hinata grew beautiful and confident than her shy nature from 3 months ago. She wore a lavender shirt with the Hyuga clan symbol on her back and tight black Anbu-style pants. Due to Naruto's help, she was efficient in the Juken style as well as the Kazama style self-defense. They each got their own weapons too. Kiba had claw gauntlets, A.N. Picture the gauntlet from Prince of Persia. 2008. And Hinata had twin knives with a hole where the pointer finger would grip the knife. A.N. For the picture, travel to Namikaze09's page and look under HF blades and knives and click on the last link under that category for a better description if mine is not enough. As for the other teams, Team 10 and Team 11, which consisted of Amy Karara, Jashiro Yukimura and Keiko Nomura, along with unfortunately Team 7 passed their test. Luckily Sasuke happened to offer Sakura his food to pass. Team Izuki got closer to their instructor and met her fiancé, Gekko Hayate, a renowned swordsman with a chronic cough due to one of Kiri's ninja that had boil release launched a searing mist and needless to say, he inhaled it. Okay, team, let's go and get AC rank mission. Yugao said in an authoritative tone and Kiba said in exasperation, finally, something other than chasing that damn cat. I agree, Hinata said, we are ready for the next level now. Hokage Tower Team Izuki walked inside the building as Sarutobi finished giving out an assignment to a random team. Ah, Kiba, Naruto, Hinata and Yugao, here for a mission? He said with a smile. Yes, I feel that my team is ready to handle a C-rank mission. Yugao stated. Yes, I was wondering when you were going to ask. Sarutobi said as he looked at them and pulled out a scroll from the pipe that was labeled, C. Your mission is to escort this caravan holding precious jewels to Shinjuku. You will be guarding Tamaki-san. A dark-skinned woman dressed in a red Chinese dress attire and her hair was black with blonde highlights, her eyes were hazel, Chun-Li style dress style, and said, I am Mocha Tamaki, pleased to meet you. Team 8 bowed to the woman and said in unison, pleased to meet you, Mocha-san. Mocha smiled at them, may I ask each of your names? Hinata Hyuga, Kiba Inazaka, Naruto Namikaze, Yugao Izuki. Thank you, as Hokage-sama stated, you will be transferring the sacred jewels of Subaru to Shinjuku. It is highly likely that bandits will come and attack our caravan, maybe low-level ninja. Kiba replied, don't worry, we are the team suited for this mission, we will protect you with our lives. Naruto and Hinata nodded in agreement while Akamaru gave out an affirmative yip. Well, an Inazaka with manners, it has been a long time since I have seen that happen. Kiba blushed a bit as Mocha gave him an affectionate smile and Yugao said, okay, Team 8, pack for a 5-day mission and meet at the East Gate at 1300 hours. Hi, the three genin shouted in unison. Naruto used a specialized black feather shunshin while Kiba and Hinata used a regular shunshin. They were currently working on their own special shunshin. Namikaze Complex Naruto packed his stuff into 2 scrolls and wore his wristbands that have seals embroidered into them, which held his bladed tonfas. He wore faded black pants and black shoes from an Eastern company called Adidas. He also had white bandages that wrapped around his abdomen, only showing the outline of his abs. He took his pack with the scrolls that had this clothes, tent and other essentials and looked at his picture with his father and mother to whisper, I will see you later, wish me luck. The Namikaze walked out the door after activating the security seals and traps just in case some dumbass would try to break in and steal his family secrets and Uzumaki seals. His mother was better at Fuinjutsu than his father and even helped him with his fabled Hiraishin Jutsu. Inazaka residents Kiba and Akamaru packed their stuff and were informing Sume about it. So you're taking Tamaki-chan's caravan too, eh? Yeah, who was the rude Inazaka that she had last time? It was your cousin, Shun. The little idiot was a lecher and tried to cop a feel. Needless to say, he got his ass kicked by her, his parents and his little sister. It was hilarious. Kiba smiled, wow. Ah, does someone have a crush on Mocha-chan? Kiba blushed as he stuttered, and no. Wow, never thought that I would ever see the day that Kiba Inazaka would do a stutter worthy of Hinata Hyuga. A familiar voice said with a bit of humor in his voice. Sume and Kiba turned to see Naruto standing outside Kiba's bedroom. Shut up, Naruto, Kiba said with his blush still on his face. What? It's funny, don't worry, I think she is only in her early 20s, you got a chance if you play your cards right. Sume smiled as Naruto said, how do you think I got your mother and sister to like me? Kiba muttered, that damn clan restoration act, that is how. Naruto smiled at his misfortune and said, "Well, are you ready to go?" "Yeah, let's go pick up Hinata." Sume said, "You two be careful, if you don't come back in one piece, I will kill you both when I go to hell." "Yeah, Naruto and Kiba said nonchalantly. Kiba left the room while Naruto engaged Sume in a long kiss. "Take care of him," the Inazaka matriarch whispered. "If I have to, I know he can take care of himself, both of them, I help him train himself to the man he is," answered Naruto, "and don't worry about me, I can kick anybody's ass except yours." "Damn straight," Sume growled. "Dude, come on and stop making out with my mother. Damn, this is why I hate mushy stuff." Kiba's voice rang out. Naruto replied, "So says the teammate that has a crush on our client." Silence was heard and then Kiba said, "Fuck you, Naruto." "I win," Naruto said with a feral smile. Hyuga Manor Hinata waited outside of her manor, waiting for the teammates to pick her up, and she saw Naruto and Kiba walking toward her. "Hello, boys," Hinata said as she walked up to them. "Hey, Hinata, well, let's get going or we will be late," Kiba said. Then Hiyashi and Hanabi appeared before the three of them. "Make sure that you three be safe." Naruto saluted him and said, "Yes, sir. We will come back in tip-top shape, and if not, may I be hit with a giant log." Hiyashi smiled with amusement and Hanabi, along with Hinata, giggled a bit at Naruto's antics. Kiba said, adding to that, "May we be pecked to death by a giant chicken called Clucky." Hiyashi said, "I will hold you to that, Private Inazaka." Dismissed. "Oh, crap, Hyuga-sama is not stoic anymore, it is the apocalypse, run. Hide your kids, hide your wife," Naruto shouted. Hiyashi shook his head and walked back inside while Hanabi shuffled her feet for a few moments and then impulsively gave Naruto a kiss on the cheek and ran back inside with a heating blush on her face. "Wow, she is like a younger you, Hinata? Naruto-kun," she said, embarrassed. "What? She is, the blushing, but at least she didn't faint." Naruto commented and Hinata gave his arm a playful slap. "She is not like me," Hinata said with a pout. Naruto and Kiba laughed along the way to the gates at the look on her face. The genin reached the gates 10 minutes early and waited a bit to see Yugao and Mocha coming towards them with a large wagon with a chest inside and a large crystal. Naruto felt something stir within him and thought, "What is this power I am feeling? It feels holy." "Naruto, are you okay?" Hinata asked curiously. "Oh, yeah, I am fine, are we ready to go?" Yugao answered, "We are, let's go, Team 8. Kiba positioned himself near Mocha in the front while Naruto and Hinata stood on opposite sides of the wagon and Yugao was in the back of the wagon. "So, Mocha, how long have you been doing this?" Kiba asked. She replied, "This is my 3rd year in doing this actually. It is biannual and I started when I was 16. The jewels are delivered to the temple, which was erected by a mysterious man back in the days of the first Hokage. He gave to the monk, saying that they were sacred and must be protected until the one who can break the crystal comes." Kiba said, "Nobody has broken the crystal yet." Mocha shook her head, sadly, "No." Then the Inazaka puffed up his chest, "Then I will be the one to break the crystal." Mocha giggled at his antics, "Maybe, Kiba-san." Just then Akamaru let out a bark and Kiba's eyes narrowed. "Mocha, stay close to me." Just then a score of bandits came out and surrounded them. "All right, hand over the cart and we won't hurt you at all." One of them said, obviously the supposed leader of them. "How about this? We kick all of your asses and keep the cart." Kiba said, "Wrong choice, kid," the leader said as he swung his rusty broadsword at Kiba. The Inazaka used his gauntlets to catch it by the blade and punched the man in the face. Hinata pulled out her 2 knives while Naruto moved into his Mishima style. Yugao took out her katana and attacked the bandits. Hinata moved quickly through the crowd, slashing at the tendons to rend them useless. Even if they healed, they would not be able to walk properly and Yugao took no prisoners. The former Anbu jumped in the air and slashed at one of the bandits' weapon arm. His arm was severed from the elbow down and he screamed in pain, clutching his stump. Yugao smirked a bit before blocking a man's knife and stabbed him in the stomach. She threw the body at a collecting group that was surrounding Kiba and a transformed Akamaru, who were doing their Gatsuga technique, making sure that Mocha didn't have a scratch on her. Naruto ducked under a man's sword and took his arm behind his back to make him stab himself. Then he did a roundhouse kick, making another bandit twist in the air to fall on the ground. Naruto flipped through hand signs, shouting, "Futon! Risenkatama!" The spinning ball of wind was made and sent to crash into a crowd. The group of bandits screamed in pain as the invisible wind blades sliced into their bodies. The leader of the bandits clutched his broken nose and shouted, "Retreat! Retreat!" The bandits that were still alive dragged their dead and limped away. Kiba was about to pursue them, but Yugao said, "Kiba, let them go. They have learned their lesson with messing with us." Mocha said, "That was amazing, thank you for protecting me, Kiba-kun." The Inazaka blushed, "It was nothing." Naruto and Hinata snickered at Kiba's blush and crush on Mocha, making the Inazaka heir glare at them. Mocha said, "Well, let's continue. We need to get there early, so we can start the festival of breaking the crystal." Naruto thought, "Something tell me that we have not seen the last of the bandits as of yet." Bandit camp. "So, Jinta, did you get the crystal?" The masked leader asked. "No, my lord, we failed. The caravan was protected by a group of ninja. They are highly skilled, especially the purple-haired one. I see, I think it is time to hire an assassin's touch, do you think?" The leader said as he turned to the curtain to see a silhouette of a blonde-haired woman in a purple military suit. "Told you that you would need my services, Riku-san," she said. The newly named Riku said, "Of course I would be needing your services, Jinta. Do you know what their skills are?" "Yes, they have a Hyuga, Inazaka and Unknown Boy, but his taijutsu is amazing." "Oh, a challenge? Well, this should be fun," the lady assassin said as she walked away. Jinta whispered, "Riku-sama, are you sure that we could trust her?" "No, that is why I have a backup plan, just in case she decides to skip out of the plan. After all, she is the legendary Nina Williams." Nina W. Williams, are that you sure that is her?" "I thought she was dead." "I thought so too, until I found her trail connected to her style. She leaves her opponents with a broken neck. I had to call a favor from my brother to find her and bring her to me." "Why did she take the job though? Her price must be expensive." "I am giving her the rest of the jewels. I want the crystal, so I can hold it for ransom from all of the temple, since they all considered it sacred for some reason. Now, tend to your broken nose and get ready to move. We will be going to Shinjuku to attack," Riku said with a sneer. Jinta bowed, "Yes, Lord Riku." And with that, the man left the tent. Riku thought, HMPH. I know that the prophecy says whoever breaks the crystal will be able to control the world itself. That person will be me. Riku let loose a evil chuckle, which quickly escalated into an evil laugh, only heard by the bandits near his tent. Hakureisaiga Nina Williams has appeared, and what is Naruto's mysterious connection that he felt just by being near? Team Azuki reached the town of Shinjuku to see people hustling and bustling about, building booths, putting up lights and decorations. "Wow, you guys are going to have a nice party, ain't you?" Kiba said in awe, with Akamaru barking in agreement. Mocha nodded, "Yes, it is because we host the biggest festival in this area." "Interesting," Naruto said. "That way, every person that wants to break the crystal arrives here." "When does that event happen?" "It happens at midnight, the festival will start at 8. Mocha said, "So you guys can enjoy the festival." "Well, it is perfect. I could get some alone time with Hinata. I can guess that Kiba will be with Mocha-san at that time and Yugao-sensei. I have absolutely no idea what she will be doing at all unless she is protecting the jewels." Naruto thought to himself, "Alright, Team 8, the festival will be starting in 2 hours, so I want you guys to help Mocha-san or any others to get the festival ready in time. Then you three can enjoy the festival." Yugao ordered. "Hi." The three answered in unison and sprang into action, fixing up the booths, restaurants, games and lights. Mocha uncovered the crystal from the tarp and Naruto thought he saw 2 glimpses of humans and his devil gene shrank back in fear. Are there 2 humans in there? Either they are powerful priestesses or something. Their power must be outstanding enough to make my bloodline shrink back. It is almost as if it actually fears it for some reason. I wonder why, but it looks like to see the reason is to break that crystal and find out myself." The former Jinchuriki thought. 2 hours later, the festival was underway and true to Naruto's prediction, Kiba stuck by Mocha along with Akamaru and Yugao went away somewhere, leaving Naruto and Hinata alone. "I did say I was going to take you up on a date. Looks like this will do, huh, Hinata?" "Really?" Hinata said, "but I am not dressed prop." "Hinata, it doesn't matter how you are dressed. As long you are with the person that you are interested in, everyone wouldn't care less. Now let's go and take a look around. The two of them just did that and traveled the festival, eating takoyaki, playing games against each other and just having a good time together. Well, that was fun. Hinata said with a giggle as she held a wolf plushie toy. You are lucky that I let you win. Naruto said with a teasing smile. Oh, really? You let me win? You were fumbling around on how to use the water gun. She retorted with a smile. The former Jinchuriki laughed a bit and then the Hyuga princess joined along with him. Step right up, come and face the beautiful yet deadly Nina Williams. An announcer said, survive in the ring against her for 10 minutes and win a prize. Naruto looked at the prize, which was a beautiful sword. 1. I guess it would probably help me in the future. Naruto mused to himself. I think I might do that. Naruto voiced. Hinata said, okay, Naruto-kun, just don't get too injured, alright? I still need to kick your ass in the rest of the games. Naruto smirked at her as he went inside the ring and the announcer said, we have a new challenger, what is your name, son? Naruto Uzumaki. You hear it, folks. Naruto Uzumaki has the balls to face off against Nina Williams. Let's get things started. Ready? Fight. Naruto moved into the Mishima-style stance and Nina reacted strangely by holding her head as she was assaulted with repressed memories of herself standing beside someone that once used the same style as him. Jin? Kazama? Nina whispered. Naruto was able to overhear her and said, you know him, Nina-san? Nina replied, I did. He was my employer once, but then, I can't remember. She has amnesia. I wonder, maybe. He switched to capoeira and again Nina was hit by memories, this time of a bronze-colored man with dreadlocks usually tied into a ponytail. Eddie Gordo. We were partners under Jin Kazama. Next was the Kazama stance and she muttered, Asuka, Jun Kazama, those two were part of his family, but he never wanted them close because of his demonic power. This is impossible, she must be over 100 years old, but she looks like she is in her late 20s. Naruto thought to himself in shock. Suddenly Nina regained her composure and moved into her stance once again. Naruto whispered, looks like I have no choice, but to fight her and find out. The former Jinchuriki blocked Nina's strike to his collarbone and grasped her forearm as leverage to plant a firm palm strike to her chest as he let go of her arm in a split second. She fell to the ground, but instinctively put her foot out just as Naruto made a move to grapple her. The Devil Gene Possessor was launched back and Naruto used his fist to keep himself in the game. Nina ran at him to do a flying kick, but the former Jinchuriki ducked under it and sent a kick to her face, making the assassin's head lurch to the left. Then the Namikaze crouched low and kicked her shins in a twister-like motion and gave her an electrifying uppercut to her chin. Nina fell on her back and Naruto stood ready, knowing that it was not over. As he did his uppercut, Nina purposefully leaned back and fell to the floor, avoiding the blow altogether. Of course, you would know that move, she was the bodyguard of Jin for a few years at best. Okay, she knows all of them already, so it looks like I am stuck with the academy style with a few modifications. He thought as he switched it up. Nina moved to the side and did a jab, but Naruto dodged and sent a spinning back fist to her face, followed up by a kick to her torso. Nina grimaced in pain as she dodged the fist, but caught the kick in her stomach, but she sweep-kicked him Naruto and was about to break his arm until Naruto sent a punch to her face. She moved back and then the timer went off. Ladies and gentlemen, our winner is Naruto Uzumaki, surviving against the incredible Nina Williams. The crowd clapped and cheered in excitement at the fight and Naruto was given the sword, but he tried to search for Nina. She was there for a second, but then blended into the crowd. Damn it, she is gone. But something tells me that I haven't seen the last of her at all. He thought to himself. Naruto-kun, are you okay? Hinata asked her crush, fiancé-to-be. Yeah, I am fine, but that woman, she just left me with more questions than answers. Hinata asked, do you want me to find her? No, if you use the Byakugan, it might alert a bandit or rouge ninja to our presence and compromise the mission. Besides, I have a feeling that Nina will be back to see me again. It is almost like the feeling I have with the crystal. Hinata said, the crystal? What do you mean? Yes, that crystal holds tremendous power and my bloodline gave me the notion that it fears that power, plus I think I saw two women trapped inside of it. The Hyuga heiress replied, if that is so, Then maybe you are the one to break it. We should find Yugao-sensei. Naruto nodded silently and the two went to find their sensei, but they didn't notice that Nina was watching the two of them. Naruto Uzumaki, who are you and how do you know the fighting styles of the people of my past? She thought. In a half an hour, Naruto and Hinata found their sensei by the crystal and told them about Naruto's reaction to the crystal. So you have a reaction to it, maybe you can break the crystal. Wait until midnight, then we will see. So for the next few hours, Naruto and Hinata were able to finish their date and got closer to each other. On midnight, everyone gathered around to see the crystal and Mocha, along with several other girls danced around it. Everyone watched intently, especially Kiba, in admiration of the grace and beauty, but then Akamaru softly braked, snapping him out of his partner's trance. What? Poison? Where? Akamaru barked twice and growled, making the Inuzuka look up to see a bandit on the roof. Kiba quickly put his gauntlets on and climbed up on a restaurant's roof to tackle the man who threatened to hurt the dancers. Attack! Someone shouted. Suddenly bandits came in and the people ran in a panic. Look like our cover is compromising, now we fight. Naruto said as he took out the sword that he won and jumped into the fray alongside his sensei and his fiancée-to-be if she would have him. Naruto sliced through one's throat and then stabbed another in his chest. The Jinchuriki kicked one away, then sliced a bandit's stomach open, leaving his intestines to fall out. He grabbed the intestines and used the bandit's dead weight to knock the surrounding ones like a human mace. Bandits were sent left and right, flying into stands or killed by the weight of the dead bandit and the velocity that it was going at. Then Naruto cut the intestine, making the bandit fly into a group fixated on closing on his sensei. He looked briefly to see Kiba fighting ferociously against one of the bandits that approached them earlier, and then he heard Mocha scream and sheathed his sword to see her protecting the crystal, and a man who Naruto assumed to be the leader was walking menacingly toward her. Get away, girl. I shall be the one to break that crystal. He who breaks the crystal shall rule the world with its hidden power, and I will be that ruler. I don't think so, Naruto said coldly as he kicked the leader in the face. You must be the leader, who sent those bandits earlier. Who are you? I'm Riku, leader of the Grudge Bandits. You must be the boy with the amazing taijutsu that Jinta warned me about. I suggest that you get out of my way, whoever you are, boy. I am Naruto Uzumaki and I suggest that you leave this crystal out of your personal purposes or I will kill you. Nina, Riku called out and the blonde assassin appeared out and Riku ordered, deal with this nuisance while I collect my prize. Naruto looked to see that Kiba had killed Jinta and moved to Mocha's position and then turned his head toward Nina. Why lower yourself to work for him? Business is business when it comes to the right price. I am an assassin, I will take any job no matter how gruesome or degrading it is. Naruto moved into the Jeet Kune Do stance and bounced around. Nina sent out a punch, but Naruto ducked and did a Shaolin spin kick, making Nina fall to the ground. You may have more experience than me, but I have more speed than you. Your style comprised of grapples, kicks and throws. Jeet Kune Do is too unpredictable and confusing for you to make many throws or grapples. Naruto moved toward Nina and did a quick machine gun punch by hitting her in the face, chest and stomach, disorientating her. Then he ran up on her body and flipped, planting his feet first into her abdomen, breaking her ribs. Nina gasped out in pain and then the former Jinchuriki heard Mocha scream out, Kiba-kun. Riku was able to stab Kiba in the stomach and the Inuzuka fell to the ground, clutching his wound, and then the leader of the Grudge Bandits kicked him away. Riku laughed as he said, and now, your power belongs to me. He slammed his fist into the crystal, but it didn't break and Riku shouted in surprise, what? It didn't work? He rounded on Mocha and grabbed her by the hair and sneered, you wench. You must have put a seal on it. Undo and tell me how to break it. Mika looked at him with utter disgust. I will never tell you, you monster, only there is no seal on that I placed. That crystal is only meant for the pure of heart to break, and your heart is black as the night sky and stained with the blood of the innocent. Riku said as he threw her down and said, then you will die. But Naruto caught the blade and said, you first, you son of a bitch. He drove his palm in the bottom of his nose, launching the cartilage into the frontal lobe of Riku's brain, killing him instantly. Then Naruto looked at the crystal to see that his devil gene mark was flashing purple. He muttered, only the pure of heart can break this crystal. But I don't consider myself pure of heart, so why do you react to me at all? He touched the base of it and the crystal lit up and shattered to reveal two women that Nina recognized. Asuka and Jun Kazama. But that is impossible. Jin told me that ogre killed his mother. She said to herself. Naruto caught both of the women and said, the Kazama clan. The wielders of the angel gene, and I am the one who supposedly controls them. This is very weird as hell. Mocha said, momentarily looking up from her treating of Kiba, you're the chosen one. Naruto-san, finally my word here is done. Kiba said with a weak smile, hee. All of the good things always happen to you, eh, Naruto? Hey, what about you? I believe that you found a good thing as well. It is not every day you have a beautiful woman treating you. Plus I can tell that Mocha-san likes you a lot, Kiba. Mocha blushed and said, was I that obvious? No, but I noticed the hidden changes and it seems that the crystal's excess power granted your good service a reward. Mocha looked at herself to see that she was a bit shorter and younger, most likely in her teen years. Mocha cried out in tears of joy and Naruto smiled as he thought, I have a feeling that my life has gotten more interesting. After a week, Team Izuki and Mocha returned to the village and Naruto said Jun, Asuka and the injured Nina in his home. While he was still treating Nina, she asked, what are you healing me, Uzumaki? Well, your employer is dead, therefore your job is done, so to me, you are just a person that got caught in friendly crossfire and you have information on those two more than me. They will recognize you when they awaken before we slowly transition them to the rules of this world. Jun began to stir and Naruto said, we better go and greet Jun-san. Jun tried to get up, but Naruto pushed her back gently, don't try to move just yet, you have been trapped in a crystal along with your niece for a fairly long time, Jun Kazama. Who are you? How do you know my name? She asked. I'm Naruto Namikaze or formerly Naruto Uzumaki and I have an acquaintance that fought against you in a tournament a few times. Her name is Nina Williams. Do you remember her? Jun replied, Nina Williams, yes. I fought against her in the Iron Fist tournament too. What happened? Time has passed. I stumbled onto your son's diary. According to his last journal entry, he fought against Azazel, the one who was the origin of the devil gene and sacrificed his devil half to kill it, and then he fought against Kazuya and killed him as well before finally disappearing from existence after fighting against the devil. He sought to end the devil gene by that plan. His grandfather Heihachi was killed by Kazuya before Jin got to him. Jun said, so at last the devil gene is gone at last. Not quite, you see, there was a man named Sato Kazuya and he succumbed to the devil gene hidden in his DNA, turning him into a monster called the Jubi. He was sealed into a person called the Rikudu Sennin, but when he died, he accidentally passes it into his son. Now everyone has the devil gene, but fortunately it is dormant except for a chosen few. There are only two clans, the Uchiha clan and the Senju clan. The Uchiha can activate it to a certain extent, but then they became blind and the Senju is reduced to only one person and there is me. He activated it and then Jun touched his cheek, making the features disappear. So that was why the devil gene was feeling so afraid. Your clan has the power to suppress the devil gene. Jun said, yes, I was able to prevent my son from being possessed by the devil because of this power. I'm afraid that you can't tell or display this ability freely. In this world, there are corrupt people here and they hate me because I used to hold a demon inside of me a few years ago. Demon? Looks like I have some explaining to do. Naruto spent the next 2 hours explaining chakra, ninja, the reign of the military dictatorship in his life. Jun was a bit peeved that people would do such things to a child and said, so the only way to survive in this world is by fighting. Not necessarily, but yes, there are some who do everyday things like my suitor Hana-chan. She is a part-time veterinarian. Suddenly Asuka woke up, where am I? Jun Obaa-chan? You're alive? Who is that kid and where are we? Both Naruto and Jun filled her in on their previous explanation and Asuka smiled as she cracked her knuckles, so fighting is good here. Cool, I want to be a ninja. Naruto smirked, sure, we will have to get you registered though. Jun-san, would you like to be a ninja or civilian? Civilian, Naruto-san. Fine, I will see Hana-chan about a job. I noticed your eyes lit up about it when I first mentioned it. Asuka asked, but what about Nina-san? Oh, her? Knowing a bit about her, I think that she left already. I can't sense her presence at all and she is the type of person that is cold and aloof. It is the way of the assassin and she follows it to the letter. Naruto said, looking out the window. Outside of Konoha gates, Nina looked back at the village and touched her bandaged side. We will meet again soon, Naruto Namikaze. I don't think I will be able to fit in your world just yet.